Yo, 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 this is DPS Podcast. That's Damage Per Second Podcast back on a fantastic Friday night. Feeling all right. I am one of your hosts here, SloMoBackSlap, with the other host, Gaming Forte, and we got not necessarily a packed house, but packed house for us because we normally don't be having too many people on. But hey, look, Mr. Game Logic said he wanted to come through. We had to oblige, of course, and we got once again the well-renowned lifetime actor of 2021, I think it was, right? Yeah, 2021. I mean, we're gonna keep pretending like it's a real award, right? Trevor Bursong, aka Ramon Terrell, in the house. So, gentlemen, I hope you guys been having a good week. Let's start with Game Logic. Game Logic. What you been up to, man? What you been doing since we last have? Actually, it's been a while, so let's not do that. What you been playing this week? Let's start there.
Well, of course, I've still been playing Call of Duty.
Really?
Not like you. Oh yeah.
I don't. You don't. No invites. No nothing. No. Hey, come join me.
Look, this is we're gonna share a truth because I realized some things while I was away, and one of those things is like, look, when I have to get the work done, I know. Look, I can't hang with you. Maybe with you and Forte.
Oh,
so
come on.
No, seriously. When I am Prestige 7, nice. Level 50 right now.
I just hit Prestige 200 yesterday.
Yes, yeah. I saw you hit your Prestige Master 4 weeks ago. I see you climbing them rungs. And my thing is, look, in order for me to make that progression, like I have to play in my own bracket. I know who I am, and I'm comfortable with that. And then when I get work done, then I can hang with you, Slomo. So this is one of the reasons I'm bothered, because for some reason it is not double XP weekend this weekend.
Really?
Which I don't understand. So yeah, because this would have been
double XP weekends every weekend, in my opinion.
Given the keep the attendance up.
The game is still like, I saw some numbers on PlayStation where it's like it's got 5 times as many active players as Battlefield 6, but it's still like the numbers are still low for Call of Duty. It's not really competing with anyone else. It's competing with itself. And compared to prior Call of Duties, it didn't sell as much and it doesn't have as many active players. And so, why aren't you doing double XP weekends every weekend? I don't get it.
Well, let me piggyback on that, Slow-Mo, because the other thing that I said a couple of weeks ago was, so I'm finished with the Battle Pass, and I finished with the Battle Pass with like 45 days left or whatever in the season, and I was like, I feel like when you finish the Battle Pass, you should still be able to earn tokens, and then you could just use them next season. Mm-hmm. And if you're not going to do that, then how about just quantify whatever progression I was making towards the Battle Pass and put that into accelerated level XP or weapons XP. It's like you complete the Battle Pass and you guys are giving no incentive to people for them to stick around after they finish the Battle Pass. So I'm sure plenty of people finish the Battle Pass and then go off and play something else. So, but I've been having a good time, right? Playing Call of Duty. It's been fun. I have been playing Forza Horizon 6 on Xbox. So I've been playing Call of Duty on PC, Forza Horizon 6 on Xbox. I have also.
Why on Xbox play Forza Horizon 6 instead of, say, like your PC?
That's just where I start. Look, I'm going to be playing Forza Horizon. Like, I put 81 hours into Forza Horizon 5. I put over 100 hours into Forza Horizon 4. I think I maybe put 60-something hours, high 60s into Forza Horizon 3. I'm going to be playing Forza Horizon for a very long time. I bought it on Xbox, and I just decided that's where I was going to start playing. Obviously that license entitles me to play it via the Xbox app on PC. So eventually I'll play it on PC, but I just got started, with my run on Xbox.
Got you. Okay. Cool. Are those the only two you've been playing?
And been playing been playing a little bit of the Outer Worlds 2, also on Xbox, and Monster Hunter 3. Gosh, I can't remember. Monster Hunter Stories 3.
Okay.
So what is it? Something Reflection. I forget what the subtitle for that is. But that's the JRPG from Capcom, the JRPG Monster Hunter variant that came out in March or April.
Yeah, it was around that time period.
Yeah. So we've been having a good time.
Nice.
Twisted
Ramon.
Reflection, I think, is its subtitle. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problems. Ramon, what you been playing, man? I have an idea,
So,
but the audience
well,
doesn't. So go ahead.
well, I finally finished Sorrows, and I was thinking about going straight to possibly go for the platinum because there's not a lot left. But
Mm-hmm.
that final boss, I needed a break. I managed to
took some out of you, huh?
do like harder than any Returnal boss by at least for me by a mile. Like I did not struggle with any Returnal bosses like this boss at all, not even close.
Mm.
Um, and then the messed up part is to get the true ending, you have to beat him again. That's not a spoiler because I mean, it's just there's two different endings. And let's just say when I beat him the second time, I did or did not do something I was supposed to do or not do.
And you still
And
didn't get the true ending.
and I got the wrong ending and had to
Oh
fight him a
man.
third time. So long story short, after about 15 tries, then I finally beat him. And that may not sound like a lot, but when you have to go through an entire biome to get to him again,
True. Yeah.
So anyway, I did that. It's a very grim game, if in case you didn't know. But it was overall, it was
I've
great.
heard.
It was great. Like, yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. So definitely worthy permanent part of my collection. And then I returned to Crimson Desert as well as began Forza Horizon 6. Um, Crimson Desert is good as usual. Have some kind of weird technical thing going where my frames aren't nearly as high as they were before a bunch of updates, and apparently that's a thing because I googled it and people are talking about it on the Steam threads as well as Reddit. So I got to figure that out. Forza Horizon 6. It's funny how you think something is important to you, but you don't realize how important until it's not quite right. So, I mean, to start off, when I fired it up, everything was fine, and then I got this weird visual glitch or bug where you know how like when people do comparison videos of like let's just say like they'll do a comparison video of ray tracing on and off, and there's like a bar in the middle of the screen, and on the left is ray tracing off and the right is ray tracing on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had that image on my screen, except the left side looked washed out and the right side looked normal. And I'm like, am I in some kind of a demo mode? It was weird. It looked like I was watching one of those comparison videos. So that was weird. But then after I restarted my PC and everything, that went away. And then the sound was odd. And this is what I'm talking about something that's important. The sound wasn't coming through my home theater system right. Like it was all coming through the front speakers. And I thought it was an audio glitch, but what it turned out to be was normally I have the sound set to game and then I get all the surround sound, but for whatever reason with Forza Horizon 6, it has to be set to movie. And then that's when all the surround sound actually kicks in. So I remember
Maybe
I
it's a
was
bug. Maybe maybe it really is a bug where they don't have it
hmm,
set correctly for which sound profile.
possibly Possibly so, yeah, maybe so. But at the very least, at least it's working right. And I remember just being really bummed out when the sound was like that. Like it had detracted so much from the experience, even though I've only played about an hour and a half. But I remember feeling a little flat about it until that fixed, and then it was like my enjoyment level skyrocketed. So the game is beautiful, controls really well. I like the characters in 5 better so far because they have more personality. In this game, they don't seem to have as much personality. They're kind of flat, but maybe that'll get better. Maybe over time. Like Logic, I've played all the previous ones. So it was nice to get that little bonus where, all of my save data. I wasn't expecting it to have all of my save data all the way back to Forza Horizon 1 and 2 and 3 because those aren't on PC, but apparently through the Xbox account, they have a log of all of it. So I got a one bonus car for each Forza Horizon that I own. So I got 5 bonus cars from all the previous games.
Yeah, I got the same thing. That was pretty dope.
That was
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so did I. I really appreciated that. So that was really nice. So I'm looking forward to diving back into that hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, so far so good.
Nice.
Hey,
Forte.
Ramon, do you drive
go
by
ahead.
sound?
Do I drive by sound?
Yes. Meaning, like when you're in a turn, is part of your driving motif that you are listening to the engine sounds and using that to help kind of keep you aware of like where your RPMs are, what gear you're in when you start your acceleration after you hit the apex of the turn?
No, I mean, there was a time when I used to do that, but lately I drive with the vehicle set to automatic simply because shifting gears with the controller has never felt natural to me. Way back in the day when I had a steering wheel, I used to do that, but I don't do that anymore simply because I'm just racing in automatic mode because I'm on controller.
Okay, I was just curious because I was wondering if that's why you were, because I do that. Like I'm conscious. I'm very conscious of the engine sound when I'm in the turn to help me kind of think about like when I need to start my acceleration, come out of the turn. Am I slowing down enough? And that was when you said you were having not the problem, but you weren't just jazzed up when your audio wasn't correct. I was wondering if that was why.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. And that's I used to drive a stick in real life, so those are things that I'm cognizant of. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. Not since I've been on a controller.
Ooh. Forte,
Yes.
what you been doing, man? What you been playing?
Nothing. I worked 123 hours over the last 2 weeks, and
Good grief.
Yeah, I literally 18 days in a row. So the back of my eyelids have been played the most, and
So you're crunching? You're
literally
crunching out here?
yeah, this is like this next week is the official first week that I actually officially have 2 days off in a row, which is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I'm really looking forward
what's
to
going
that.
on that you're working so much? Is it like like a
Well, we
thing
had
happening?
no, we had a relay remodel, so because they're doing my store is turning into a local LCS, so a local car shop. So half my store will be cards. So we had to reorganize.
Cards. I thought you said car shop for a
Yeah,
second. I was like,
card.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, no,
What is GameStop doing?
yeah.
GameStop out here jacking vehicles and putting them in the chop shop.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, so we
It's
did
like,
that took
buy
a
Forza
whole
Horizon 6 and get a tune-up at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So that, and then I had inventories at like 3 inventories over the course of the last 3 weeks that were all like 45 minutes, though at least an hour to an hour and a half away from my house that I had to drive to on off days that didn't turn into off days. And then one of my associates had a family thing, so the days I was supposed to be off, I ended up not being off because they had some family stuff, and I don't have an assistant right now, so I don't have a person to fall back on that can pick up the slack on things. So it all falls kind of on me at this point, but it is what it is. But no, I'm looking forward to next week. I mean, the little stuff I have played, of course, I jump like Battlefield every once in a while. I've still been playing my Switch too, because that's like the only thing I can kind of play since it's always with me. But outside of that, I picked up what's the heck of the name of the game? I picked up Lego Batman. I just haven't got a chance to play. I just haven't got
today, right?
Yeah, I had the deluxe edition, which I wish I would have just got the. I wish I would have got the standard edition because I thought I was going to have time to play the deluxe edition 3 days ago, but I never got a chance to do it. So I actually
Oh
paid.
man,
I paid a
waste of
little bit
money.
extra money for. Yeah, exactly. So, well, good thing I got it off Green Man, so it was a little bit cheaper. I didn't pay full price, but
Mhm.
yeah. But outside of that, just been.
So you did, but you did play it today.
No, I just got home. No, I literally just got home
Okay.
20 minutes ago
Okay.
from work.
Okay. So we can get some impressions from you next week on it.
Yeah.
Instead of
But yeah, no, but outside of that, and oh, and then I had the midnight last night with which I did not listen, I did not expect us to actually be busy for Pokemon, because that's what they were doing the midnight for, and Lego Batman was just a another reason for people to show up. I had so many people in my store picking up stuff yesterday. It was like, what? I didn't get home until what 1:50 in the morning, and
man.
and then didn't get to sleep until like what 2:20, and then had to wake up at 5:30 or no at 6 o'clock to take my daughter to the bus stop, and then I've been up ever since. So it's been something, but I'll be all right. I'll be all right. I'm here with you guys, which is and this is all the energy I need. What
Let's go. Let's go. So look,
about you?
I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all, man.
Call of Duty. That's we already know the gist of it.
No, I played some other things, but I feel like I'm in a gaming funk right now. Like
Oh, interesting.
I'm not too interested in too many things, and I'm kind of feel like this gaming curmudgeon old guy gamer that don't like nothing. So like I've been playing Call of Duty, but it's more like I play Call of Duty to advance my prestige, to play around with different builds and different loadouts, and to do like the weekly challenge stuff. I'm not really playing for any other reason. Like at this point, really.
Right.
Um, I played this game mixtape, right? And everybody last week was just like, oh, mixtape's amazing. It's so good. Oh, 10 out of 10. And I'm like, really? And so, I looked at a little few things on it. I was like, okay, look, I like myself a narrative driven experience. I like myself a telltale, supermassive, quantic dream kind of game. So sure, yeah, let me go ahead, let me pick it up and check it out. I hate mixtape. I hate this game. I hate it. And this some people are gonna be shocked and awe. I'm sorry, I hate the game. And look, I was 90s was, me in my teenage years. So it's not, oh, well, slow-mo, you're a little too old for it. Nope. You're a little too young for it. Nope. I just think it is too much nostalgia bait. It is trying to hide its lack of gaming anything. And look, I get it. It's one of those narrative driven games. Yeah, I'm not expecting to have a gun in my hand shooting people in the face. I'm not expecting to have a sword, and I'm cutting people up. But at the same time, like, this could have been a Tubi movie, bro. Like, it's not doing it for me. And sure, some of the songs they played, I was like, okay, I remember this. All right, So some of them really hit for the moment, but for the most part, I hate the characters. I hate all of them. All of them. Like burn in the fire, all of them. Like I can't stand any of these characters, especially the main character. She sucks. And like they first introduce you to her, and she's just like, "Hi, I forgot her name, and I'm annoying, and I just I think everything is about music and only about music, and I'm gonna forego my summer after graduating high school, and I'm going to go to New York, and I'm going to become a great music producer when I ambush this famous music producer, show her my mixtape, and she's going to hire me. And I'm just sitting there like, yeah, ain't none of that going to happen. I'm just like, hey, yo, ain't none of that going to happen. Sorry, chick. You head in the clouds big time. And look, maybe part of it is the fact that like I'm a father with teenagers. And so I get other people who are like, oh, I was like this teen that they showed when I was a teenager. I get it. In some ways, I absolutely was like some of these kids when I was a teenager. But now I'm a 45-year-old father. My teenagers get on my nerves. So these kids get on my nerves. And maybe look, it's a 3-hour experience. So if me saying anything is a spoiler, I'm sorry. It's a 3-hour experience. It's basically a movie. But like at one point they TP in a house, right? And I'm just sitting here just like, I wonder how you get TP off your house. I'm just like, if your house ever got TP, like, how do you get all this off? I mean, like, I the whole time I was just like, I'm not having a good time here. It's just like a lot, like 3 friends just going, hey, remember that time? And then they do a flashback of whatever they were talking about. And it's just like, oh my gosh. So look, I didn't even finish it. It's 3 hours. I didn't finish it.
Dang.
Every second was like 10 minutes to me. So I'm probably like an hour and a half. I'm probably like halfway through it. I will finish it because I actually bought this game. So I will finish it. But yeah, I feel like maybe like SloMo from 2025 might have enjoyed this. Maybe SloMo from 2023 may have enjoyed it. I guess right now I don't feel like I'm in chapter 10 of Crimson Desert, and it's only 2 chapters left. Just finish the game, SloMo. Every time I look, I don't want to boot it up. I just don't feel like playing it. I need to play Morbid Metal. I need to finish Mixtape, finish Crimson Desert, finish Saros, which I haven't played since last Saturday, and start Directive 8020. And I haven't done any of that. and instead of doing these things, I will either, I have done, well, this is the other thing I did do. I took the Steam controller and I didn't throw it out the window, okay? So don't worry about that. I did take the Steam controller and I set it up where my Steam Deck is. I put it over there on that TV, and because all its limitations, which is basically not, only needing Steam input to be anywhere near as functional as they designed it for. Well, hey, on Steam OS, on a Linux-based handheld, all that stuff is fine. And so I played a few games on that. I played Hades 2. I played this other game. And, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine over there. That's where it will stay forever and ever. I'm not playing it on my main PC where I have like 10 controllers that are like better than that controller. But, and I did play some Cyberpunk on Switch too. And I've been playing around with some different builds. But like, nothing new. Like, it's like I just don't feel like playing new things right now. I don't know what that is. I've actually been more interested in watching TV shows. Like, I started watching this show. It's on Apple TV. It's damn it, Witcher's Bay. No, it's something Bay. Butcher's Bay.
Nah, I know what you're talking about. I haven't watched it yet, but it was like the highest rated show on Rotten Tomatoes for a while.
Yeah, it's great. It's a little of a slow burn, but when you get to, I think, the third or fourth episode is when you're like, oh wow. And then absolute the fourth episode, masterful direction. Like directed so well. Even though you kind of figure out what's going to happen, you're just like, man, like you're kind of like on the edge of your seat. It doesn't matter that you know what's going to happen. You're still like engrossed in the show. Great show. I wish I had the right name though. It definitely has Bay in the second word.
It's Widow's Bay.
Widow's Bay thing. That's it. Widow's Bay. And it's funny too. It's funny. It's a good show. Check it out. If you have Apple TV, check it out. Or check it out on whatever device you may be watching this stuff on that I'm not going to get into any details on. But yeah, it's worth it. And I've been like annoyed with other like I feel like this is the year of TV shows ending poorly. Like it's been like 3 TV series this year that have like not nailed the ending whatsoever. The Boys was the most recent one. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, what is happening here? So, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just in a mode now where I just can't really do new games right now. Like doing new games right now, I'm not giving them a fair shot. I'm not giving them a fair shake. Except for mixtape. Mixtape is trash. Sorry, but the other stuff, like I haven't started it because of like Morbid Metal. I played the demo. It was fantastic. Actually, I played the demo of Alabaster Dawn, and I bought that. That was fun. I'm going to play Alabaster Dawn eventually, the full release of the game. I just can't do it right now. I can't do it. Yeah, maybe I need to detox.
Oh, sorry. Were you talking about your driving, or was that what you were talking about? Your driving? Because I'm just watching this footage, and it's
you watching the footage with the press Y for rewind almost constantly on the screen.
Yeah, it's like, wait, maybe you don't understand. If you can try it again.
So, I post my gameplay. Cause I'm a real gamer, okay? Like I don't be just posting just anything. I don't be posting other people's gameplay. It's fine that you guys. Man, what's BS? Who's
BS.
other?
No,
whose
because
other
I
gameplay do I post?
No, I ain't saying you posting other people's gameplay. I'm just saying you said you post your gameplay because you a gamer, but you don't be posting that Call of Duty gameplay. I be saying, I said, why don't you post the bad stuff too, Slubber, and like make
what
fun
bad
of it?
stuff? I don't have bad matches no more.
But you did have bad matches. You never posted any of that.
Why would I post matches of me getting killed by a cheater?
Because it's all about learning experience and how you can show other people.
That don't even make any sense for
better.
That don't even make any sense.
Because we all know that's how you get
sound
better.
like you hating. You sound, matter of fact, it sound like all 3 of y'all hating. Ain't nothing wrong with my Forza Horizon gameplay. Sure, I'm not the best racer. Okay, and I don't look. This is what I do with Forza Horizon. I play for 2 weeks, and then I uninstall. I finish the festival, and then the game is finished from my SSD. That's
so that
it.
means you go run into every blade of grass, every piece of a
Heck
tree.
yeah! Look. I say it all the time. I was like, look, if we get in a race together, that first turn, I'm looking for it. I'm playing bumper cars out here. That's the only way I'm going to win. I'm knocking you out of the way and hoping you don't catch up to me. That's it. That's the only way I win. I am not a racing guy. I don't play Forza Motorsport. I barely play Forza Horizon.
Someone out here.
He's just hating. It's crazy. And when I post stuff from shooters, yes, I'm posting a great match. Yeah, why wouldn't I post a great match? No, let me post a match even though I don't have any matches where I go 5-20. But why would I post a match where I'm dead all the time? Who the heck wants to see that?
Did you post any of this gameplay online?
What this Forza gameplay?
Forza, yeah.
I barely post anything on Twitter anymore. Why would I post racing? Why would I post? Hey, look, I'm in a generic Honda. Yay! Like what?
I guarantee. Did you not give a thought of your thoughts on Forza on Twitter or anything yet?
No.
Oh, you haven't?
Because I barely played. What you see right now is all the gameplay I have of Forza.
And you probably got that all in the last 10 hours, didn't you?
I got it yesterday. It wasn't 10 hours. It was probably like yesterday afternoon.
SloMo's like, I got to get some gameplay, so let me play Forza for a minute.
Hey, I played it. Okay. If I play a little bit more, when I come in first place, you'll just see that footage.
You know the funny thing is, you probably got more time than some of these fake wannabe say I like Xbox Game Studio games people do.
Oh, of course. There's plenty of guys that be shot. Why didn't Forza get Game of the Year? And you got like 2 minutes in the game. Just like, shut up, bro.
Yeah.
I think you play the game. Maybe you would know why I didn't win get nominated for Game of the Year. You were stupid. Anyway.
He said you're stupid.
Anywho.
Almost like he's always talking bad about the people. Y'all stupid.
I'm not talking bad about anyone in particular, although if the shoe fits,
wear it.
You know, if a hit dog will holler, you know, if the dart hits you in the forehead, own it. I don't know. Like, I'm mixing analogies here, whatever, it's fine.
If you work around crap, you gonna smell like crap.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. But you know what?
Oh, really?
Right there.
Rapid fire topics. Let's do this. So, since we're talking about Forza, apparently, you know, Forza Horizon 6 has some a gaming headset and a Xbox themed outdated controller. Yes, I said outdated. It is. It's trash. Controller. Looked nice though. I think the colors worked with it. That they shipped out, right? And for a few people out there, the condition of the controller and headsets when they were delivered, not good. Like not good at all. Like pretty bad. Like almost as if like I don't know. Like I saw a few pictures from a few people in the community, and I'm just like, I mean, I've seen sometimes things that over the course of years where I've had something delivered and it looked awful. Like the box was just in terrible shape. One time I bought a printer on Amazon, and I remember like I'm working from home, and this is before I had my office, so I'm kind of like working from home, and you know, on the dining room table, got my laptop, and I got the window blinds open. I'm just waiting for them to show up, and I see this USPS worker running with my box, and I just thought that was odd. Like, why are you running with my printer? And then she threw it on my front step, through the printer. I'm just like,
was she like under the age of 25?
No, she actually looked like she's probably about 40. But I was I was shocked. Man, I'm like, why are you throwing? The box is big. Are you serious? So I opened the door. She ran back to the truck and was halfway down the street before I even opened the door. I looked at the box, Forte, Ramon, Logic. The box was already open.
Wow.
So essentially, somebody at the post office, some degenerate, unprofessional, stank booty loser at the post office opened my box trying to figure out what was in there. Saw it was a printer and was like, I guess I don't want that. And what I think is the woman was like, oh man, I'm about to get blamed for this. So she tried to just rush to the front to the front of my house, throw it up there, and get out of Dodge as quickly as possible. Long story short, the printer actually turned out to be just fine, and that printer worked for me for years, like a decade. It was a good printer. All that
Wait a
said,
minute. Hold on. Wait, hold. Time out.
yeah.
Did you just tell us a story that we thought actually just recently happened, and Dave proceeded to tell us about a printer from 20 years ago?
I said 10 years ago. Okay. So
Okay,
get it
10,
right. So it's
this
10 years ago.
story
So
of a printer from 10 years ago.
Forte, you sit on here and tell us stories of your entire day in detail.
But
I
that's
can't tell you a quick story of when like that's relevant to what we're talking about.
No, when
Logic,
you
I think they're about to fight.
no, when you ask me what have you been playing, what have you been doing? Yes, that is consistent to what's been happening over the last week. Not that's happened over the course of all my children being born. That's what that sounds like.
What? Yeah, I am shocked that you are saying this. Because you would literally tell me an entire conversation you had with a customer down to the dialogue between the both of you, like quotation marks, word for word. Yet all I said was the USPS post office worker threw my printer on the front. You know, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Reagan was president.
It's cool. My kids need me. Okay. I'm not going to tell you the entire recap of everything the kids need. I'm just going to step away. Y'all can discuss this situation. I'm sure Logic has a lot to say about this. I'll be right back.
Yes, gaming Logic. Can you please? This is a topic that you definitely wanted to bring to the congregation. Can you please elaborate on your thoughts on mishandling of packages and people's stuff coming to their house and not the condition it probably should have been?
So it's funny because actually I tried to turn this topic off, but I think in the rush of the afternoon and your guys' crazy schedules, we missed on that. But so look, here's my personal feel. I mean,
The faucet is running hot right now.
Here's my feelings on the topic. And so this is, I've seen some effort to try and push the blame for this on like the shipping company or, like SloMo's story on like the package handlers. The problem starts with the fact that all of these things, as far as I could tell, were shipped in paper envelopes. So these things were not shipped in like inside, well reinforced container. Like when I ordered my design controller, the last one, it comes in a box and it's in a cradle in the box, and it's surrounded by some pretty well reinforced cardboard inside the package, and then it's shipped right with additional protection around it. These things came in paper envelopes, and they're not in good packaging inside the relatively flimsy kind of cardboard boxes that they're in. They're not surrounded by a bunch of additional like reinforcement and rigidity. So, and these things are all coming in the limited edition controllers, so they're all coming direct from Xbox. The only way you can get them, as far as I can tell, is either direct from Xbox. Now they're showing up on Amazon, but the ones that I looked at, they don't ship until June 2nd. So the initial rounds are coming directly from Xbox. The problem with this, the main problem with this that I've observed is the social media aspect of it. And so, this happened to a friend of mine who bought this for her husband as an anniversary gift. And the box shows, right, and because it's in a paper envelope, it shows up mangled. And several of these things have happened. Boomstick posted about it happening to him. It happened to Brap's kid, who ordered both the controller and the headset. There's a whole Reddit thread that has now started about this. So as far as I can tell, again, all of these things shipped in just completely irresponsible packaging, and the packaging, and then the organic packaging that the product itself comes in is also shoddy. So the problem with this is that, I tweeted this out from with images of, my friend's accounting of what had happened to her. Boomstick tweeted it out. I haven't, I don't follow him, so I don't know if he's gotten a response. Other people have tweeted out. No one has gotten a response to this thing. And here's my problem with where the rubber meets the road. Asha has been out talking about all kinds of stuff that she apparently has time to address. The day after she was put into the position, she was on Twitter at 7 a.m. in the morning, right? Pacific Coast time, because I was seeing her tweets at 9 and 10 o'clock East Coast time. Somebody says to her, they need exclusives. She says, hear you. And my problem with the way this is being handled is other people have tweeted at her, have tweeted at Xbox, have tweeted at Microsoft, have tweeted at Xbox support. There's been not one peep of response that I've seen. And I'm like, you have time to talk about all sorts of other stuff. Boot up logos, Xbox Fan Fest, right? Just all types of stuff. You're on the eve of arguably your biggest showcase ever in the history of Xbox. You have time to say hear you to a person who asks for exclusives, but you don't have the time to exert the same level of effort to say hear you to a person who has spent money on an Xbox product. In some cases, like with Brab's kid, like I said, both the headset and the controller. So that's a person who has spent close to and maybe upwards of $200 on a limited edition product to go along with the biggest release that you've had this year in Forza Horizon 6. And the only recourse for this, you can't get a replacement because it's a limited edition. So when you go to the Microsoft website to process this thing for an RMA, the only option it gives you is to return it and get a refund. So these are people who are getting these products. Lots of them don't want to open the box because they're worried that then if the thing is broken or damaged or something inside of it, then it's going to be that much harder of a problem to get the thing exchanged. So a lot of them just want to ship the thing back, right? Because it's in broken, busted up packaging. So to me, it's just really problematic in the way it's being dealt with. And the thing that it does not harmonize with is, and again, we're a week from when they opened up the Player's Voice website, right, for people to give their feedback. And so it does not sound harmonious to me. It does not sound synchronized with all of the messaging and voice tracking that's coming from them. And then you have consumers who have an actual problem with things that they actually paid for to go along with your biggest game release or your biggest showcase. And there is not one peep of support. Nothing so much as, hey, yeah, that's a problem. I'm going to get somebody on that right away. It quite honestly, it borders on the ridiculous to me. And, the comment I made the other day, we're all sports fans here. And we often say, how teams respond in adversity and in times of challenge and crisis says much more about the character of a team than their successes. And so a team that's 2-10, Forte, I know you've been through this with seasons with the Lions. A team who's 2-10, a team who's 2-10, who right in the waning weeks of the season digs in and puts up a fight and a challenge for the simple case of being a spoiler for a playoff contender. Sometimes that team is showing you their heart. That team is showing you the potential that they have, right, to come back the following season and do something. And sometimes that matters more than what their record says.
Brother,
and so here's
that happened this year with the Detroit Pistons first round when they was down 3-1 and all of a sudden decided to think that they could become who they were the whole season. And I'm like, well, they done woke up. They didn't, what happened last. Yeah, whatever. Continue.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is it sure would have been nice, right, in the wake of all of the, I'm going to say what otherwise looks like pandering and manipulative behavior and predatory behavior. It sure would have been nice for just someone in leadership or someone from the official accounts to say, yeah, that's a problem. We'll take care of it. Right. But to do all of this other stuff, the return of Xbox in all caps, all of this cheerleading, and then for a real problem to occur and you did not respond to it or address it, that to me is problematic. And when I look at that, I say, to me, that tells me much more about the character of the organization than the other stuff. And so it's just a shame. And like I said, and it's not a console warring thing, right? There are people who are friends of mine who are loyal fans of Xbox, right? Loyal supporters. Like I said, my friend who, bought this as an anniversary gift for her husband, and she's negatively impacted. The husband's mad, right? Because now a gift that was intended for him, is now, something that's not going to happen. And again, it can't be exchanged. So they've actually processed it for exchange. And that's the other thing. They went through the process to get Xbox to address it, and Xbox told them, "Hey, ship it back to us." And oh, by the way, ship it back in secure. So Xbox asked them to package it better to send back, and then they shipped it to them. So they were like, "No, we're done." So they are processing it for refund, but they ordered, the limited edition controller from Amazon, and they've just decided they're not going to order anything from Xbox anymore. And I'm like, these are the things that stick with people, right? And that change their character of how they interact with your brand.
I'm just gonna. I want this to go over to Ramon, but I'm just gonna say this one thing and not elaborate more on it. This is why I think all this is fake. This whole thing that Xbox is doing, it's too. First of all, we're talking about trillions of dollars of a company, and nothing moves and changes fast in a company that big. And the about face that they have been doing over the course ever since, the regime changeover, I've always looked at side eye. The direction of where Xbox and all this other stuff has just, in my mind, has always been a ploy just to try to bring people back, or bring the hardcore or the fans, that the ones that they felt like they were really losing back. And I just never felt like it was a genuine thing, because I just feel like at a certain point, this is all too good. Everything was happening was too good. Like, I like some of the directions. I like the things that they've been doing. I like the fact that, Game Pass got lowered in price, but I also don't like the fact that they took things away from it in order to get it to be there, So it's like a lot of the things I felt like were easy changes to be made, and we're like celebrating things that should have never been the way that they are, for them going back and like kind of fixing it a little bit. And this is just a whole nother thing to me. Like, when I saw all this, and like you said, I didn't know that they were literally not even like, now that I think about it, they never responded. Like you said, Sharma's been out there saying, "Oh, you need this, got you. This, that, anything when it came to like interviews or speaking points, got you." But when it came to this, nothing. Not like, "Hey, us at Xbox, we got highest quality when it comes to the things that we give to our customers, and we want to do right by you guys." Just something to acknowledge the situation, instead of it being like it falling on deaf ears and you having to deal with support, which you don't even know where support is when it comes to this stuff. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't know what you're doing. And the fact that, and that's the thing that got me when you said that we want you to ship it back to us, but we want you to package it better, huh?
Wait,
So you want me to
hold up.
package it
I'm
better
just
than
getting
you
back
packaged
here.
it?
So they want people to ship it back to them better than they
Better
actually.
than they shipped it to you. What?
That is some audacious.
Do you want me to teach you how to pack things? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's odd.
Yeah, it's odd, but that, like I said, and Ramon, I want to hear what you got to say about all this. I just don't believe any of this fluff that's been going on with the Xbox, like not the community, because the community is only following what Xbox wants them to do. Because again, it's like as soon as everybody thought that everything was changing, you saw the whole mindset of the community change. Like, Xbox is back, this and that, and I'm sitting there like, bro. I kept my mouth shut about the whole thing, but this is just another reason, because it's not hard to have great
Forte,
customers.
The same people who are saying Xbox is back are the same people who said Xbox is there's nothing
The
wrong.
future.
There's
looking to
nothing
the
wrong.
future. and-
So they went from saying there's nothing wrong, everything's great, to acknowledging things aren't great when Phil was gone, to now we're back because Asha put the word Xbox in
Right.
all caps, to hey, we just, which is a topic I'm gonna get to, we got Matthew Ball, but like, what do you know about Matthew Ball? Apparently not much. It's just like
Hmm.
people are
Yeah.
going to, like, fanboys would do that. They're going to talk up literally every single thing the company does to the smallest degree, and then ignore everything that tends to be bad. And look, I've had my fair share, my printer, right? And it wasn't just a printer. I've had, but look, here's another real short story. I bought something for when my daughter was a baby. She wasn't even born yet. We bought something for her room. We were putting her room together, and it got stolen. We had some kids at the time in the neighborhood that were just stealing people's packages. Like, I found them, but like, regardless, it was like a custom made thing. It was like a stencil of her name that we were going to put on the wall, and it was custom made by this artist, and it got stolen. And the artist, we told her about it. She was like, "Oh, that's awful. You know what? I'm gonna make another one, free of charge. But if this one gets stolen, I'm not doing it again." But that was like, that was a good thing for her to do. She's a small, business owner. Like, she didn't have to do that. All we were looking for was like a refund or something. She offered that. I'm not saying that everyone who had a damaged headset, or the box is damaged, or maybe the headset and controllers work just fine, but a lot of people, sometimes they just want the package. Like, they're and again, no controllers is outdated garbage. Maybe they're not even going to take the controller out. They just going to have it in the box. Maybe they're that kind of collector. Like, you don't know. And so when things are delivered to you incorrectly, whether it was Amazon that was the problem, or whoever, FedEx screwed up, UPS screwed up, whoever screwed up, you have to own that.
Yep.
You deal with it with the customer, and then you go after the carrier for screwing up if it's the carrier's fault, or if it's your own fault for packaging it, doing the packaging like a moron. Then you go to the people who did the packaging and you get it sorted out. But like, to ignore it is just, that's never going to be a good outcome, because people, like, if you are ignoring it, it's just the complaints are just going to get louder.
Yep. Ramon, what do you think about all this?
Two things. One, her start, she's been getting softballs. They've been tossing volleyballs up, not softball. They've been tossing the volleyball up for her to spike it. I mean, everything, like, she has a host of just megaton bombs to drop in the form of all these games coming out, that were already set to come out before she even got the job. And then this other stuff, like, do you want Xbox in one capital and the rest lowercase, or all caps? All the PR stuff. And then, switching out or lowering the price of Game Pass. This is all like volleyball stuff where they just toss it up and then she spikes it down. Those are all the easy things. The hard things comes with what you guys have been saying, like with the controller issue, and all of that not being addressed properly. The other thing is, for all the people who are like, "Oh my God, Xbox is back," and they're all excited. You know how, like, when you're really, really, really hungry, and then when you finally get to eat, it's the best food you've ever tasted in your life?
Yep.
I would bet that when they had those meetings, and Asha was in those meetings with those people, they're like, these cats are starving. So if you give them anything good, they're going to lap it up like it's a 5-star meal. And that is exactly what's been happening. You have a starving fan base, a starving diehard fan base that just needs something to grab hold of, like just. And she's throwing them life preservers that only fit around their fingers. But you get 5 finger life preservers, and you can keep your hand up and then keep working from there. She's just tossing them little bits, little carrots. You know what I mean? But
Little morsels.
yeah, but then but when things start getting more difficult is when we're going to start to see if things have truly changed. And I'm not trying to be a pessimist or anything like that, but we still haven't seen how much change is truly going to happen. Everybody's, beating the drum on exclusives. I mean, personally, I thought that exclusives were supposed to be outdated, and why do we care that someone else gets to play the games and all that mess? And I'm gonna play this on my PC. I'm gonna play this on my PC.
Oh,
And all of that, So,
they forgot they
anyway.
said that, Ramon. They forgot they said that for the last
Oh yeah,
5 years. They forgot they
said
said
that.
that.
But many of us watch the videos. But I'm not gonna get into that. But anyway, it's gonna be interesting to see if they are really, gonna do what needs to be done. I like if Asha can convince the shareholders and Satya and Amy to take a number of years worth of L's in order to bring the brand back via exclusives, that would be, in my opinion, a miracle. Sure, maybe it can happen. I'm not part of the corporate world. I don't know, but it just seems a tall order to be able to get to sell them on exclusives when they're going to have to take several years worth of getting kicked in the teeth in order to bring the brand back around via exclusives. And that's a gamble because we don't even know if that'll be the case, because how many people are checking?
Let's put a pin in that, because that's going to be something that we're going to probably likely discuss on another rapid fire. I don't want to get too far off of what the rapid fire topic is, but I think we've punted, slam dunked, spiked this one pretty well. Let's get into this next rapid fire. Oh, really? According to Windows Central, EA, aka Electronic Arts, was against the Game Pass family plan, and that is the reason why, although it was being demoed in multiple countries, it was eventually canceled. Forte, what are your thoughts about that?
So, because EA was against it, the whole thing goes up in smoke. I'm like, it's not even like EA is a huge part of it. It's like you do get their games inside of Game Pass after 6 or 7 months of them being out. But I also will say, but that's 6 or 7 months after they're being out. It's not like your games are still selling. By the time Madden is hitting Game Pass, people are getting rid of it. By the time FIFA and stuff is hitting Game Pass, people are getting rid of it. It's like they're getting ready for the next one to come out. By the time Mass Effect hits Game Pass, like Legendary Edition, when it hit Game Pass, by the time it hit Game Pass, it already had sold the majority of the copies of the game it was going to sell. So this is just asinine. And it lets you know how fragile Xbox's their stance was. Like the fact that they basically bowed to a publisher on their platform just because they wouldn't be able to get those games into Game Pass after 7 months of being out. That's crazy. So
I imagine it's because they have a contract with EA.
They have to have something.
And EA was able to maybe invoke some kind of legal whatever to say, hey, we didn't agree to this. Because now you given, it's one thing to allow it to like child accounts. Like my daughter has access to Game Pass because she's a child account under my account. But technically, like when she's playing a game, if someone were to look online, even though I'm always showing offline, but if I wasn't showing offline, people would look like, okay, it looks like It's like look like SloMo's playing Super Lucky's Tale, but I'm not, right? So it's just like this would be the way the family plan, if I recall, was designed is that you would like it's like any other family plans we've seen with platforms, you would add accounts to
Mhm.
your account, and they didn't need to be child accounts, where they're tied to your account in that way. They're completely independent accounts that's just sharing your access to Game Pass. And so,
But
you know, go ahead.
but my biggest thing is with this, it kind of just brings the how in depth the Xbox or EA was, because Steam forever you've been able to have a friend account and or have a family account and then share with people that's in your family by adding them to your account, put them in your friend on under your family plan.
How many
And
how many people can you add to your Steam?
I think
I
you
only
can
have
have
my son.
four.
I only have
I
my
think you can
son.
have four. You can have four, I believe. It's either three or four because I know it's me, my brother, my brother's son, or my nephew, and I think one of my nieces is on. My other niece is on there, but I think it's either three or four. But the simple fact that even under Steam, there are certain games that can't be shared. You can't family share them because the publisher has them locked. Like it's like, so it's not.
So
if
what you're
he
saying is they basically should have been like, here's a
just lock
family
the games.
plan, but EA Play is not involved, so you can't access EA Play games if you're accessing Game Pass through the family plan.
Through the family. So then that's what. And that's what's puzzling to me, because it's not like Microsoft doesn't notice. I mean, if they don't know it, it's crazier because, they've been having a partnership with other platforms like Steam forever. So they kind of should already know how something like that could work. And I guarantee it had to be a situation that popped up saying, well, they don't have, well, if they want to lock their games out of the family share part of the plan, the games can still be there for Game Pass members that pay for a full ownership right to the Game Pass, but we're not going to share across families. That definitely had to be something that popped up, but for them to like completely axe it because EA doesn't like it. And I'm not going to say they didn't want to do it because we don't know that, but the fact that they may just felt like it was not in their best interest to do. Well, I'm sorry. If you want everything in your best interest, make a platform and stop living off everybody else's platform that you're putting games on. It's a benefit for the people to bring more people into the ecosystem, because guess what could happen? If there's more people in the ecosystem playing games, that's more eyeballs on your games. And more people might say, "Oh, guess what? Well, I can't access this game through the family plan, but maybe I want to play it with my other friends, so I'll just buy it." But the fact that you literally put up a fuss or whatever, and like I said, allegedly, because we don't 100% know this, but if that's the case, that is stupid to me. And I feel even more that Xbox is like I can't see PlayStation, because they're on a stronger ground, or I feel like their footing is better. It's like Xbox just doesn't want to upset none of their publishers or anybody that is making games for their platform, because they don't want to lose the access to those publishers that they have already. Because a lot of these, if you just listen to developers talk, they don't see a reason of having their games on Xbox anyways, because most of the people aren't buying games anyway. So why upset the balance if you don't got to? And I feel like that's why Xbox is in the situation it is right now, because it's listening to the publishers and they're making decisions for them, if this is true, that they should be making for themselves. And because I felt like the family plan would have been a great thing. It's an easy way to bring more people into it. It naturally turns into people that get older and they get used to having a service like that in their ecosystem. When they get older, they keep it. I remember my mom had Netflix when I was younger, And guess what happened? When I got older and I got my own Netflix account because I wasn't on my mom's Netflix anymore. And you kind of got used to the ecosystem and the services and everything that it kind of provide. And look, 15 years later, we're paying $26 a month instead of the 14 we were paying when it first was. Oh, actually $7.99 when we first started playing it. But no, I just think it's really crazy if this is actually true. Like I said, allegedly, if this is, the case, but it just shows me more weakness on Microsoft's part because I don't think they felt like they have the standing in order to even push back against this if that was the case.
Well, Logic, what are your thoughts about this?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of thoughts about it. It was. I mean, no offense to the commentary on it, but it was reported by Windows Central, so it's kind of.
That's why I said allegedly.
Yeah, it's in the trash bin of my memory already.
Oh my God. The trash bin. Okay. Well, Logic. Humor us for 30 seconds. If this was actually a thing, humor us on it. 30 seconds.
Yeah,
that's all I'm asking for.
I mean, what I wonder, and I hear what you say, Forte, about like those games showing up in Game Pass from EA like 6, 8, 9, 6-8 months later, maybe not matter. I wonder though, like if you get a family plan and your plan is to share it like with your kids, your kid isn't aware of like what is the newest, latest, greatest version of Madden, and so maybe he or she is just happy to be playing Madden or FIFA, and they're not as wrapped around the axle about like the new version because they're not playing like the Ultimate Team and all that mess, right? So maybe it was deemed that it wouldn't be as as much value, and it was kind of needed to really make Family Plan go in a way that would like the point of offering the Family Plan would be to get more people to onboard to Game Pass. And so what they may have felt is without EA along for the ride, it just would have caused them to, lose more money slipping through their fingers by doing Game Pass. Because it just becomes the Netflix problem, right? It becomes the same as, people sharing out their Netflix passwords with every family member instead of those family members signing up for their own individual accounts. So I don't know.
Didn't hurt Netflix. Netflix thriving now. They told everybody, they started with the whole, is this person in your family network? And then you would have to send an email or a text message, and then they would say, okay, the next 30 days, you're tied to this network. And then after that, they'll ask you again and they'll say, hey, now you need to just switch your home, and then you can't access it, but the other person can. And then they just got rid of it altogether. So they went through 3 tiers of pissing people off to get to where they are now, where you pretty much can't even share accounts anymore. And guess what? Ain't hurt Netflix. It don't seem one bit. They actually raise prices on people, and people don't even care.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. The only thing I would say is Netflix is the model that Game Pass theoretically was chasing that Game Pass has not been able to replicate.
Oh, well, you're definitely absolutely right about that. I will never argue that point. You are right. Ramon.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I had my Ash and Luca moment where it was like 2-3 seconds of dead air, and I was like, Ramon.
Yeah.
Well, just wait my turn.
No, you're good.
No, it's everything that's been said. I mean, I also will echo Logic and consider the source. And I, quite frankly, there's not a whole lot I can add because you guys already nailed it. I mean, Xbox right now is in the position of a husband in the doghouse. You know what I mean? They're trying not to make anybody else mad. One would hope that they realize they can't really make any mistakes. And I mean, that's obviously, that's unrealistic because they're human beings. They're going to make mistakes. But you know what I mean? They're in such a position right now is that they need to make the fewest major mistakes as possible because they're the users are looking at them sideways. Studios and publishers are looking at them sideways. Investors are looking at them sideways, and everybody's looking at them sideways. So I mean, that's probably why they're, if this is true, then maybe they're capitulating. But I mean, aside from that, there's not, that's all I got. I don't really have a
You're
whole
good,
lot.
bro. We appreciate it. Slow mo.
You good, man.
Lead
All
us
right,
to
look.
the promised land.
Oh, really?
That's the promised land. We're done.
There's the promised land. I'm moving on to it. Hey, so
We're done.
1047 Games, the developer of the Splitgate games 1 and 2, has announced they are making a spiritual successor to Titanfall called Impulse, and it will be out in early access this year. Impulse will be a 6v6 movement-based first-person shooter. I think the words movement-based probably gave PTSD to a number of people who have played Call of Duty the past 2 years.
Yeah, probably so.
Because that omni movement got people hurting. Now, they haven't shown any gameplay. They showed screenshots of it. So although it says it's supposed to be out in early access this year, the fact that you couldn't show us like a trailer got me thinking like not like early access this summer, maybe like early access this fall or winter. But I think it's kind of interesting because 1047 Games, if you guys recall, their CEO last year really kind of like stuck his foot in it with the gaming community overall when he wore a hat at, I think it was Summer Game Fest last year. He wore a hat that said "Make FPS great again," and people automatically said, "This guy's MAGA," and went off on him.
I remember that. He should have known better. Everybody got red hot PTSD as it is.
Right. That didn't go well. And then what also didn't go well was his criticism of, which, I mean, it's justified. A lot of people feel this way, that first-person shooters aren't as good as they used to be, or the developers are not listening to the communities on what they're looking for and what they're not satisfied with. Yet, he announced all these first-person shooters are the same while he was like immediately announcing they were doing a battle royale for their arena shooter, which to a lot of people seems somewhat hypocritical. So, Splitgate 2 did not go over very well. But maybe Impulse will get it done. His whole idea was that, and he even said this in his little speech that didn't do numbers, that we want more Titanfall and less Apex Legends or something like that. And so I'm probably getting the game he compared it to wrong, but I don't know. Forte, what are your thoughts about 1047 Games doing this spiritual successor for Titanfall?
See, Titanfall is it was like one of the most influential games that came out when Titanfall, the first Titanfall came out. Just the whole narrative around the game was just great. Like I bought the collector's edition for that. I had the giant Titan and everything.
For the first one or the second one?
The first one. The first one came with the Titan, and the second one was it came with the pilot helmet. Was the collector's edition for that one. And I played so much of it, and like the biggest miss in that was the fact that they did the whole no single player. It was all like the story was told in between the matches and everything. So and it was, I think they did a really good job doing that, but nothing could replace that single player action that you had. The downfall was, I think the multiplayer was way more refined in the first one. And then in the second one just had this most incredible single player that I still think to this day is probably the best single player campaign in a shooter, like an actual traditional FPS shooter. Just really, really good. Like I just found myself going through that game multiple times. So I would like to see someone else give it a go. It's just that when you're trying to especially do spiritual successors to a game that was like really good and did a lot of things right, and especially in a starving environment that we are, and it's a shooter. So we know how people feel about shooters, and there's a lot of competition out there. Just because just because the people know that it's like based off of something like this, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean that they're going to flock to you, because it's still going to be a new IP. And we all know new IP, it really comes down to like what people are really looking for. And you're not very spy, and you're not, and Vince Zampella, you God rest his soul, is not walking through the door. And we know he was the architect behind, Modern Warfare when Call of Duty was in its really good heydays back in the day. And the person that created Titanfall, the game that you're trying to do a successor to. So there's a lot of care that needs to be taken there, and I think there's a lot of emotion that's going to be there too. If they can do it and they can knock it out of the park, then I think they'll be revered and loved forever, because we need a traditional arena game like that to come back. Because I think I'm not going to say people are fatigued of the type of shooters we're playing now. But I think people want more than what we have now. Some people want to get back to that fast Twitch-based gameplay shooting that we used to have back in 2007, 8, 9, going through, 2011 and 2012. I think people kind of miss that. You start seeing people going back and playing games like that. And I think people would play games like Call of Duty more if it just wasn't for all the extra stuff that's going on with the game. Battlefield kind of showed that people are willing to try something different that they're not used to playing, due to the fact that if it's a quality, and then it just comes down to them just executing over the course of, the length of the time that they're playing the game, to see if they stick with it. Battlefield was afford that just because it's Battlefield and it has a name. You don't have that type of luxury as a studio making another game that's a brand new IP, that even if people can reminisce and say this is being made with the loving care of this older franchise, but if you don't live up to what that franchise was from the people that really, really enjoyed it, you're going to miss the mark, because they're going to be your biggest, they're going to be your biggest critics, but they're also going to be the people that's going to celebrate the most if you're able to nail that aesthetic that, we're looking for. Not saying it has to be a one-to-one thing, not even saying it has to even be 90% of what Titanfall was, but it just has to be something that kind of lends people to be like, I really like what they're doing here, and they're doing things that I wish the original games did, and I think they're doing it better. If you could do that, then, you're off to the races, but that's a hard thing to do with a franchise like this.
Yeah. Ramon, I know you're not into shooters like that, but any thoughts on this topic?
Well, I like to start with saying that watching this gameplay footage reminds me of your Titanfall 2 gameplay footage, where if I ever need to remind myself that I'm trash at shooters, I just need to watch your footage.
But then you just got to look at
just you with shooters is like me with driving games. So
there you go. See, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was about to say, man. You got to look at that rewind button every 10 seconds and better about yourself.
Oh, dude, I'd be getting rewinded to hell and back if I was playing competitive shooters. But I mean, you set yourself up for great heights or great plummet when you say something like spiritual successor to Titanfall 2, because Titanfall 2 was so good, the campaign, because I don't play multiplayer, but the campaign was so good that it attracted me. And I'm not into first person shooters like that. There are a few that I play, very few that I play, but I'm not into first person shooters. And that was one of the best campaigns ever. Like, so that they've already placed themselves in some huge footprints, and that's big talk. If they nail it, then they're off to the races. I mean, the sky is the limit if they nail it. But if they don't, it's gonna be rough. So, looking at that teaser footage, like and that's the other thing. When they say spiritual successor to Titanfall 2, I'm immediately thinking, oh, I'm gonna have a giant robot, a giant mech and my soldier, but they didn't. They just showed, some futuristic looking soldiers. So I was already
okay. So just like I read up on it. It seems as if the mechs are going to be like, how like in Halo, there are power weapons on the map.
Yeah.
And those power weapons, they're not always there. Like they'll be there, and then when they get used, then when you run out of ammo, there's a timer that goes off, and when that timer starts to count down, those power weapons go back to where they were on the spot. From the way it was described, as if these mechs are situated in places on the map, and you'll be competing with the other team in the 6v6 to get the mechs. So now my interpretation, that's like power weapons in Halo. That's just my interpretation. But
Right.
the fact that you'll be competing against the other team to get the mechs is something that has been said. So
yeah, I was just gonna say, adding to that, I remember the first time I ever called the Titan down, and it said prepare for Titanfall. And then you just look at how many times have you died looking at your Titan fall from the sky when it hits the sound barrier and you hear the little whoosh because it breaks the sound barrier and then it just crashes on the ground? Bro, I died so many times waiting for my Titan to hit the ground. And then I had to run and get back to then your Titan is fighting on your behalf and stuff. And then you could call your Titan to you and everything, and it will fight on your side, or it will stop and you can jump into it. Those are the things that they are up against, because it was more than just the game itself. It was just the experience of playing that game. The moment to moment gameplay was so, and that's just talking about the first one before they even got to the single player in the second one. Like the moment to moment gameplay was so good. And like I said, I don't care how many times I called the Titan down. I always looked up to watch my Titan hit the ground. And that is in every game I've ever played in Titanfall 1 or 2. And that's the thing, like Ramon was saying, those are the things they're competing against. And like you said, it's not saying it has to be 1-to-1, but when you use words like they're using, those are the emotions that you're kind of bringing back for people by even. That's like rare air in my. That's like rare air for me.
I agree with the both of you. I really wished they never even mentioned Titanfall, because what would have been better is if you actually showed the game and people say, this reminds me of Titanfall. And so there isn't a direct comparison that people are going to ding you for not being, because they understand that you're a different game. It is more of like, oh, okay, you took inspiration from that. I figured that out myself. And now I'm going to use the nostalgia I had from the good time I had in Titanfall. And now I'm going to be interested in Impulse. The problem with them just saying, yeah, it's a spiritual successor to Titanfall, is that now when you do things that are differently than Titanfall, people will be like, but you said that you were
pull
going
the
to be like
microscope out.
Titanfall. Right. And so they did the same thing with Halo. Like, and I understand you want to pull on those nostalgia strings, but Splitgate's not Halo. And I'm not saying Splitgate is a bad first-person shooter. It's not. Splitgate 2 was bad. When they did Splitgate Reloaded, which is when they relaunched 2, that was better. Splitgate 1 was great. But like, when you say things like, we're big time Halo fans and we wanted to give people that Halo feeling again, but then people play your game, they're like, but old school Halo, I wasn't sprinting, and we sprinting in this game. Although I got no problem with sprint. And if you and just to clarify, if you're a Halo fan and you still upset about sprint, you need to go
Touch grass,
something.
bro. Touch grass.
Go do something else with your life. Because you need to get over 2001. Okay? Get over it. So, but like what I'm saying is
the
that
best
like
Halo game that's ever released has sprint. Halo Reach.
Look, I would like 1047 Games to really nail a game. But I feel like their CEO is kind of like a detriment. He's like a
He's a weighty
plus and
vest
a
around.
minus. Yeah,
He's
his
a
vision
weighted
is
around their
fine.
neck.
His how he delivers his message of what the vision is, it's not fine. So he almost deliberately puts his own games behind an 8-ball. You just can't do that. You can't be
Yeah,
the he's like Cliffy B without the resume. Because Cliffy B was doing that when Cliffy B left Epic and he had his own studio, but he couldn't stop putting his foot in his mouth. He couldn't stop talking trash about platforms and talking trash about other games. And all they did was just make it harder for your game to get a fair shake. Because when you talk trash about other people's games, but your game isn't perfect, people are like, oh, look at your game. Look at your boring hero shooter that you came out with, Lawbreakers. Name a single character in this. like you can't talk like that. Like this is the double standard. The gaming community can talk all the smack they want about Call of Duty. Call of Duty ain't what it used to be. It's terrible now. It's I hate it. I hate everything about it. You as a developer can't say that. Because when you as a developer says that, now people go, wait, hold on, excuse me? You hating? You hating on Call of Duty? You wish you had their numbers. And it's like, but wait, you were talking smack about it too. Yeah, but that's me. And I'm not making the game. You are. Are you better than Call of Duty? Let's find out. And so it's like this is why that humility that we see from a lot of developers, where they're more, even if internally they're like, man, we way better than that game. But publicly on social media, on Twitter, you're saying congratulations on your launch. Because that's the professional way to go about things.
Exactly.
And when you don't do it that way, like I said, you just make it harder for your games to succeed. And I don't think they're a bad dev. They're a small little dev. But like saying Titanfall, like Ramon plays the single player. He don't play the multiplayer. Nothing in what they announced about Impulse mentioned the single player campaign. So for the people whose experience in Titanfall isn't just Titanfall 1, but it's Titanfall 1 and 2, and their favorite thing about Titanfall was the amazing Titanfall 2 campaign, you get them hyped up to play Impulse because you said this is the spiritual successor to Titanfall, but it's all multiplayer. Because all 1047 Games has done has been straight up nothing but multiplayer. They've never done a campaign. Now, think about that. What if you are going to do a campaign? Look what you just compared it to. You compared it to one of the best first-person shooter campaigns ever.
Ever.
And you've never done one of those before. Why do you keep doing this to yourself? Like, just make a game and put it out there. And if people say, you know what this kind of remind me of Titanfall, then hey, that was your intention. Let them come to that conclusion.
SloMo,
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd read my fantasy series. It's the spiritual successor to Stormlight Archive.
Oh my gosh. See, that's just why would you ever do that to yourself, right? You just be like
No sane person would do that.
Right. Logic, you got any thoughts on this topic, man?
You're gonna fail, bro.
Oh, come on. You ain't gotta say it like that. Like maybe it's
No,
all
seriously,
right.
man. Seriously, the industry needs to take about 2 years off from making multiplayer games as a service PvP games. Like, just straight up. Like, we had the time where Fortnite caught fire, and for 2 years after, 80% of the devs that came to the stage were launching a battle royale. They all toppled over and failed. Before that, everybody was trying to chase Call of Duty with arena shooters, and that failed. Now people are coming out trying to replicate extraction shooters. And like I forget I hear what you're saying about Cliffy B. Cliffy B did have one good thing that he said. I want to say he said that he said something. I can't remember what the exact number was, but he basically said like for every like trend genre or peak thing, there's room for like 5. And like once you hit 5, like that's it. Because those 5 are going to suck all the air out of the room. And everybody who chases after that is just doomed to fail, or at least
That's
have a
true.
like ridiculously hard time. So
Yeah. I believe that.
people need to take a break.
Yeah. Well, 1047 games. I hope this isn't your last hurrah. I hope this isn't your last attempt. Although like they're not a big studio, and I know they've needed to secure funding for they all need to secure funding for their projects, but like I was a little concerned about them when Splitgate 2 failed. And now like this kind of reminds me of like let's here's a Hail Mary. let's see if this works kind of thing. So I actually hope it does. Although I do kind of agree with you that like it probably won't. I'll still check it out though, because it's likely going to be a free to play game. I'll play it, you know. Anything else anyone want to say on this before we get on to the next one?
Let's go.
All right, sounds good to me. Let me just get.
Oh really? Oh really?
So, Xbox has hired a few more people to their leadership team. One is Mr. Matthew Ball. He's being hired as their chief strategy officer. And the other is Scott Vliet. I think that's his last name. Apologies if I got that wrong. As chief technology officer. And Matthew Ball is known for his industry analysis on gaming trends, and he also had a strategy role at Amazon Studios. Van Vliet has also had experience with Microsoft Azure AI infrastructure. He seems to be like 90% of the leadership team now. And he also worked at Amazon Game Studios. So, Logic, what are your thoughts about this? I'll talk to you first about it.
So what has the success rate of Amazon Studios been?
Kind of spotty. Kind of up and down. I think they got one good game, one successful game, right?
Yeah. Out of how many did they try?
Not important.
It's like
It's not important.
their batting average is
Why
roughly
you
the
got to bring
equivalent.
up old stuff? You bring up old stuff.
Their batting average is roughly the equivalent of a PlayStation's live service strategy.
Oh,
And look, sure, that's great. I mean, I'll co-sign the pick of Matthew Ball as far as like if you are a data-driven, analytics-driven leader, and that's what your business model is going to be, seated on, then Matthew Ball's a great guy, right, to pick for that. I would not pick him for his pedigree or his CV or his background, but I would pick him for that. The problem is that I see a lot of the usual suspects pontificating about what this means and imagining a lot of stuff, including the return of exclusives. And I'm like you said, SloMo, I'm like, clearly you dudes did not read his actual report, right? His 225 slide plus report on the state of the industry for 2026 or for 2025. His big takeaways for 2026 are nothing is making money but Roblox and Minecraft. And so everything needs to be UGC. The biggest growth areas are China and APAC. And gaming is losing ground to TikTok, porn, and prediction betting. Those are the three big takeaways. And so those are going to be his three big inputs to Asha Sharma and her leadership team. And what does that synchronize with? That synchronizes with the statements that the GLT and Satya were running around and saying last November, right before their earnings call, that their biggest threats are Netflix and TikTok. And who has Sharma been spending a bunch of her time talking to? The CEO of Netflix. All of these things are stars that are aligning that have nothing to do with the likely return of exclusives.
Oh, that's grim.
Forte.
Yes.
How do you feel about these hires here, sir?
It is like Logic said, it is, if you're talking about from a analytical point of view, then yeah, okay. But it's just like I said, I feel like a lot of this is just a bunch of fluff until I actually see meaningful action and change come from any of it. It's like it seems like they're doing a lot of moves that on the outside look really, really good, but how in practice are they actually, conforming to each other? And as of right now, I just see, and Ramon said it perfectly earlier, everything was like a layup at this point. And even this is kind of, just think about it, you're bringing someone in that could kind of shore up more of the processes of everything that's going on. But the hard thing is maintaining and managing it. So, and unfortunately, all this stuff takes time. It's not something that's gonna be a flip of a switch and then all of a sudden it's different. There, anybody that basically takes any of this stuff and just says, "Oh, this is going to be great," and this is how it's going to be better. Yeah, I can see how it can be better, but will it be better? Will these things relate to a change in just the overall philosophy of what, not only how Xbox operates, but how Microsoft looks at Xbox? Because you don't go from, burning it all and bringing out all the nukes and stuff and saying we got to put our games in other places because of the direction of how everything has been going for the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, that writing has been on the wall since pretty much 2014, 2015, when you were parlaying 3 first-party studios for a whole 3-4 calendar years until you decided to say, we need to wake up and make some noise. But then that was also not an Xbox problem. That was a Microsoft funding problem. that you can't even blame Terry Myerson for that at the end of the day, because he was the person that everybody was like putting out to the stakes for Microsoft not spending money on Xbox. And after he was gone, we still went a good amount of time until Phil convinced Sadia to open up the checkbook in order for Microsoft to start bringing studios on board that can help them with their first party problem. But that doesn't all disappear when within 2 years or 3 years you tell them like we need to put our games in other places because our fans aren't supporting our games and we have to make some of this money back that we recouped. So I don't see anywhere where this like whole narrative around let's bring first party back to Xbox and all of these directions and stuff, because all these games are still coming to PlayStation. They're still day and date on PC. I don't see any change. I haven't heard anybody refute and say any of that stuff's changing yet. Like, we may see some stuff and hear some stuff and might get some really good shout outs and stuff at the game, at the showcase. But I'm just one of those people that I don't just hope for change. I want to see change. And that's the reason I got rid of an Xbox, because I didn't quit on the Xbox ecosystem. I still partake in it. I still play in it. I have a PC that gives me everything I need. Those games are readily available for me over there. And I don't see any reason to come back. But if Xbox gives me a reason to come back by doing some simple things like literally showing value for the platform, literally showing that it's not about just the games they put on there, but about the shared communities and experiences you bring, not only with the games, but with the players that are on that system, then we can start talking about, repairing what has been broken since 2021. When Phil Spencer went on stage, said we're only talking about these 4 games, knowing god dang well, or he probably didn't know god dang well, but Microsoft knew god dang well that it was more than just those 4 games. So they have a perception problem is what it is. So until that perception is fixed, there is really nothing they can do to convince me that we're not still operating under the same false narrative that they're trying to show people right now. I think that they're trying to change some stuff, but this goes back to how games are made too. When they delayed Halo and they said that we're delaying it for a year, we told everybody right then and there, this is going to take longer than a year for you to fix this. Even knowing they came out a year later and still a whole bunch of stuff missing from the game, and they still wanted to release the game, and people fell off of it because everything wasn't there. And guess what? We will never see what that game was supposed to be at the end because they completely canned it. We won't see the end of the Atriox art and all that other stuff. I'm tired of unfinished things from them. So at this point, show me. Don't just tell me what you're doing. And I just think ultimately it's going to come back to time. And for some people, they're not going to give them enough time. Just like I don't think Microsoft's going to give them enough time to fix every little thing that they need to fix. And they're trying to get the player base involved by trying to, acquiesce to the things that they may want. Sure, we could take the price of Game Pass back down. We could do that. But guess what? We're going to take Call of Duty away from it. So it's not like a full win. It's like a partial win. We got a cheaper price, but we lost something along the way. And it's going to be more and more of a give-take relationship over the course of time. But it ultimately comes down to time. So let's see what they do at that time. I think this is a good move. I think it's going to shore up their overall ability to kind of maintain structure, but I still want to see it for myself and not just pray that it's going to happen overall.
Gotcha. Ramon?
That was a long one. I'm sorry.
You go.
Honestly, right now, I'm largely indifferent. Until basically what Forte said, they got to show me. It would take it would take something like it would take a miracle for for me to return to their platform. Um, my faith in the technical stability of their games is a little shaky right now from my from my Horizon 5 experience, but I gave them a chance with 6 and it's largely okay right now. So, I'm watching them. I'm watching them. I don't have a whole lot right now. I don't have any excitement at all. I mean, I take their games on a case by case basis. Their platform is whatever for me. Um, yeah, I don't really have a whole lot for that.
I feel you. It's fine. So Matthew Ball, I read his entire report. It was long. It was 200 plus pages.
Good for you.
A good 15 of them were not fully accurate. No one wants to talk about that. I'm the only one that seems to remember that. That's fine. I do like the guy though. I think he's probably good. A good addition to their leadership team, and I think Asha is I mean, although it does seem like there's a lot of cast-offs from the AI sector of Microsoft. I think she's putting some people together that are outside of Matt Booty, who's a holdover. Probably good for the future of the program. And again, like you guys have said this, and I agree that like it takes time to rebuild a brand, rebuild trust in the brand and in your leadership. When you pivot every 2 years, you're constantly pivoting to a whole new direction. Like people just lose confidence that in anything that you say it means anything. Like right now, like there's all this talk that they might take day one games away from Game Pass to bring back exclusives. And it's like, I know people feel like this is a bad idea because you're going to renege on exclusives, but you're probably not going to put day one games back in Game Pass. So what did we gain? Nothing. And, it's hard to say, I don't believe you, or I don't know why you have that mentality. No one could say that because they have done so much going back and forth, like from Phil saying, hey, look, we back in 2021, we acquired ZeniMax Media to bring Xbox gamers exclusive games. That's what he said. If you want to play these games, you better be on the platform that got Game Pass. These are his words. Then 2 years later, the games are going everywhere. Huh? What? 2 years later, games go everywhere. Now, 2 years later, they're talking about reversing it. The one thing that Asha can do, and Mr. Ball, and Mr. His name begins with a Z. I'm not even going to look at it right now. Mr. Z guy. The things that these people can do is be consistent. I don't really care about what your strategy is. I just need your strategy to stop changing every time I blink. That's what I need. Because when it comes to Nintendo, I don't need to worry about where their games are. Like if you say, hey, look, we're going back to exclusives. Okay. What are most people going to say? All right, whatever, man.
We'll see.
We'll see. I'll
Yep.
get Fable on PlayStation, buddy, which is still coming to PlayStation. I'm just using that as an example. But when it comes to Nintendo, I bought a Switch 2 because I wanted to play the new Fire Emblem. At no point in me being a sane individual did I think, hey, maybe I could play Fire Emblem on my PC legally, right? At no point did I make that thought because I already knew better because there's consistency with Nintendo that lets me know that. Look, PlayStation is going back. We're going to talk about this in a little bit. Going back on single player games, single player first party games coming to PC. And what was a lot of the Xbox community saying? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Nope. I don't believe it. It's still coming to PC. Why? Because there was a change in strategy. And now they're reverting back. And so if there's any doubt whatsoever, people are going to, until you prove through consistency that that's not going to change, people are going to lean on what they want instead of what you say. And so I doubt if exclusives really do some form of exclusives, it won't be like it's still going to PC. Like, come on now. But like if these games become console exclusive, which I don't really think they will, but if they do, like I really doubt how long that is going to be a thing. Because we know who the CEO is, and we know what that CEO has always been about. He's never been about exclusives. So, at the most, I think that like you're going to start getting timed exclusives, which I mean, I guess that could kind of help the platform, but probably not really. Like that in the long run, not really. If people if that you want to buy your platform and then start playing all their games on your platform, so you're getting a 30% cut on all the games that they buy, you want to get those people over on your side, like them knowing that they just gotta wait for the game. Like you gotta have some games that basically are like, I can't wait for this. I can't miss this game. I gotta play this day one kind of games. And I really kind of like think right now they don't really have that. I'm not saying that their games are bad. They're not bad games, but they don't have those. Back in the day, you used to call them killer apps. You used to call it back in the day. They don't have a killer app. They don't have a killer app to actually, be a system seller. Or maybe they do. I don't know. Like I saw the other day, there was a guy saying that he bought himself a Series S to play Forza Horizon 6.
A Series S?
A Series S, yeah.
Huh.
So
hopefully it does well for him.
Look, can't miss games. People not going to miss them. So it is what it is. It's just that you need more of those kind of games in order to really like bring that home. What I expect from Matthew Ball is, well, not really expect. What I would hope for Matthew Ball's hiring is that what he helps them do is forecast what the next thing is better, or forecast what they need to focus on better. Instead of being reactionary, be a bit proactive in the kind of content that they're making. That's what I would hope for. But we'll have to see. I'm not yay or nay on this move. Much like I'm not really yay or nay on them. Most of all, right, like overall right now, I'm kind of in a holding pattern as I see how this goes, because Asha still to me is like an unknown quantity. I don't really know what to expect from her yet. Like with Phil, I knew what to expect. She's still new, so I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. You guys ready for the next one?
Let's go.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
This one's going to hurt some people. So Jason Schreier of Bloomberg is reporting that PlayStation Studio CEO Herman Holst told staff in a town hall on Monday morning that the company's narratives single-player games will now be PlayStation exclusive, that they will not be coming to PC. This is a follow-up on Justin Schrader's earlier report that this is where Bloomberg. Sorry, PlayStation Studios was leaning. This is where Sony was leaning to not putting the single-player first-party games on PC any longer. The multiplayer games would continue on being day and day on PC as usual, but the single-player first-party games would not. And so far, we have heard zero indication that Ghost of Yotei is coming to PC. Unlike Ghost of Tsushima, that had the multiplayer part of it had I think like up to a year of active development before they shut things down. Yotei's Sucker Punch has not done the same with Yotei. Some people may indicate that to be why I continue to keep working on something that's not coming to other platforms. Who knows? There's also no indication that Soros, that just came out, is coming to PC or Wolverine. But I think once we get into the final topic of tonight, we may be able to kind of discuss what we expect to see from the state of play coming in June a little bit further about that. Regardless, Forte, what do you think about Herman, Big Head Herman host, letting everyone know what's going on with the first party games, or at least internally?
I got a little bit of emotion here. Come back to me. I got to think about this.
You got a little bit of emotion?
Yeah, with some other stuff too, but
You
go
okay?
ahead. Yeah.
You need a tissue?
Come back to me.
Okay, I'll come back to your logic. You know, Forte's a little emotional right now. He can't speak about it. How do you feel, sir?
I mean, business is business. I mean, it, things that I've said before, which is that, each year they were making, depending on what year financials you look at, they were making 500 million, 680 million on their games that they were putting off platform, whether PC or Xbox. That is like, I forget what the numbers were that I ran. That's somewhere between like 1.8 and like 2.3% of their total revenue in the years that they were making, $32.5 billion of revenue. So it was an incredibly small percentage of what they were making. And not to say that, it didn't necessarily make sense in and of itself. Like it's some revenue, right? But it's an incredibly small amount. When I see this move, the only thing I can think of is that, I don't think a lot of, I will say, predominantly PlayStation fans, a lot of PlayStation fans are just like, oh yeah, they're just giving it up. I don't think they're just going to give it up. And I was telling Brap the other day, like, shareholders are going to expect them to replace that with something. Like, you're not just going to dump $680 million of revenue, although I think it makes sense to do it. The only thing I can think is that they think that there's something else that they can do with their resources that will eventually generate more revenue or somehow do something better to make their business go. I've heard a lot of people speculate that, they're now worried about Nix's, and I think there's a fundamental lack of understanding of what Nix's does and what their strengths and talents are. Nix's is kind of an infrastructure and platform kind of SWAT team, right? I think there are about 100 developers total, I think. But they are, the way I've tried to convey it is, to me, they are the equivalent of the Xbox ATG, the Advanced Technology Group. They are some of the best at what they do at the foundational layer of stuff, the engine level stuff, at the stuff that is close to the metal. And they do that better than the studios whose primary focus is on, what I would normally call like user-facing content. And so they are great at, what the equivalent of is the back end in as far as gaming development goes. and they have the ability to jump in and help out every studio. Like they're the base of PlayStation, right? They don't necessarily make the games; they make the games better. And so I have zero worry about what Nixes can do or will do, or PlayStation employing them. I've speculated that, and so I think what they're doing and what they're going to do is they're going to do a lot of pipeline stuff. They're going to do a lot of CI/CD stuff. They're going to do a lot of integration stuff. They're going to do a lot of automation stuff so that studios don't have to do that themselves. They're going to do a lot of lift. They tend to solve hard problems, particularly at the graphic acceleration level, at the rendering pipeline level, that other studios can't figure out or take a long time to figure out. It would not entirely surprise me. I'm sure that they are working on PlayStation's proprietary abstraction layer that I can't remember if it's an OpenGL variant or a Vulkan variant, but the thing that they build on top of instead of DirectX. I'm sure that they are working on making that better. I don't know that they're doing an entirely new version, but I'm sure that they're at least making it better. And it wouldn't entirely surprise me if the long-term objective for them will be to build an engine that all PlayStation studios will use, analogous to Frostbite or Snowdrop, which everybody doesn't use Snowdrop at Ubisoft, but a few studios do. So I think Nixes will be fine. And then the last thing I'll mention is, why does PlayStation do this? Again, lots of people speculate on, there's this weird thing where now people are talking about the attach rate of, individual PlayStation titles, per console. And I'm like, that's a made up metric that PlayStation has never said was a concern of theirs. What I've always said is what is important to PlayStation is CLV, customer lifetime value. What they are concerned about is that the individual gamer that they bring over into their ecosystem, and how much money does that individual player generate in terms of dollars of revenue over their lifetime as a PlayStation customer. And that's what this is about. This is about pulling games off of platforms where, a PlayStation customer maybe generates an extra $50 a year for them, right? Because they buy one title or two titles or whatever on PC. And I'm saying $50 at average, right? $60 at average, whatever. But they engage in a transactional relationship with PlayStation in an effort to better drive the person who comes and buys a console, the primary access point to their digital storefront, where they earn, at least 30% on everything that is sold there. And that person buys a console and games and controllers and a PlayStation Portal and yada 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 yada. That's the objective, and that's the core that they're stapling down on.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel you on the whole Nixes thing. Like people definitely misunderstand what Nixes was about. Sure, they acquired them, but due to the fact that when they were working mostly exclusively for Square Enix as an independent support studio, that they were making some really amazing ports for Square Enix. Probably the best ports Square Enix has ever had, because they haven't been able to deliver on that level of quality since Sony acquired Nixes. But that's not the only thing they did. They've been a support studio. They've been helping out the other PlayStation studios, and this has been something that they've been doing since they've been acquired. And so, it just makes sense to me that if you're not going to be doing single player first party games going to PC anymore, that just frees Nixes up to do more support work for the games that do go to PlayStation, stay on PlayStation, as well as the multiplayer games that are going to PC as well. It's not that difficult to see that you just pivot what they do a little bit. It's not that big a deal. I'll speak my full mind on it when Ramon and Forte are done. Ramon, what are your thoughts about this?
From a gamer perspective, take that back. From a PC gamer perspective, I'm sad to see them go, because those games were awesome. The ports that actually, like the Nixes ports, not the lazy God of War 2018 ports, but the Horizon Zero Dawn remastered, the um what do you call it? Um Returnal.
I thought God of War 2018 was pretty well done. That PC
It
port.
was it was, I mean, it was good, but I don't know, maybe the drastic difference from with Returnal spoiled me. That might have
The
been what
the
it
the
was, because
laziest port I think they had was with is it Iron Galaxy that was helping them with the Uncharted collection when they had Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy.
I do
Yeah, that port was panned by everyone because they basically phoned it in. The ultra settings on PC was just basically the PS5 quality mode, which is just like you got so much overhead that you're leaving on the table with people who had like really high end GPUs and high end CPUs. Just like that's just not good enough. It wasn't like a bad game, but it could have been so much better. So like
Okay.
yeah, they did have some really ho hum ports and then some really broken ones like the Last of Us games, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean like they didn't always have the best outcome. I actually remember Horizon Zero Dawn was kind of broken at launch, but that was the first one they did.
Yeah,
Forbidden
the
West was
original
better. I thought the
and
God of Wars
remasters.
were the God of Wars weren't very buggy at all. Actually, if I would say
Oh no,
you
they were
probably they
technically sound.
probably yeah,
Technically.
you probably could have gone a little bit further with things like say like ray tracing and whatnot, but uh a lot of the work that we used to see Nixes do basically would just be um really kind of translating a lot of the tools that PlayStation Studios use on PlayStation, which are proprietary to PlayStation GDK SDKs, to working in a Steam environment with DirectX, and they were very very good at doing that. And sometimes it didn't always mean, hey, look, we're going to really showcase how the available hardware on PC can outdo a PlayStation 5. Although, like anyone who's got a functioning brain could have figured that out without even needing to see it. But um, I do kind of feel like near the end of these ports, we started to see some issues. And so I know a lot of people point to Spider-Man 2 as like, well, see, this is why they're reverting this. Spider-Man 2 cost them 300 million to develop, and it had the shortest port transition from PlayStation to PC. It was less than a year, and it sold abysmal. What people fail to recognize when they mention that is how bad of a port it was. It was probably the worst port that Nixus has done. It had a ton of issues. Me personally, I didn't like the fact that I'm about to be messy. I couldn't change Mary Jane's face, okay? Like I really wanted to change her face. Her face needed changing.
Man, you was up here hating on. I remember when you was hating on Mary Jane. You was like, I need to
I'm
change her
sorry.
face.
Matter of fact, I was hating on the fact that Insomniac knew that no one wanted to play as her after the first game and just could quadruple, double, triple, dipple decker down on, yeah, we're going to make you play as her anyway. I thought that was ridiculous. Regardless. It's not the point. The game had a lot of issues itself. And it wasn't, and look, PC gamers, very particular. Like you come out with a buggy game that's unoptimized, they're not going to rock with you. They're going to be like, all right, I might pick it up once you fix the game. But are they really? Most of the time, no. And so that they really gotta, like, if you weren't able to get the port out in, what was it, 6 months, 8 months, whatever the time period was, then you don't do it. You get the port out when it's ready. It's the same thing I said about The Last of Us Part 1. They wanted to make sure that PC port for The Last of Us Part 1 was out when the HBO TV show, the first season, was out. They wanted to make sure that people who watched the TV show was going to jump right into the game. But the game wasn't ready. And like, what did you lose by getting those little bit of like that bump of sales by the cross media collaboration? Because what you lost was your reputation on PC. Because people was like, yeah, that game was a freaking hot mess. They're gonna remember that the next time you drop a game. The previous one they played was a hot mess. They're not gonna trust you like that no more. And so like these are the kind of things that like people really need to, not saying if any of this was done correctly that it would have sold great, but just part of the reasons why it didn't is the things that I mentioned. Them going back on this, hey look, I feel like, and this is just me personally, although it seems that some of Jason Schreier's report indicated this, they felt brand damage. That, even though it was foolhardy, Herman Hulst once said that he wanted PC players to play these games, and then when their sequels come out or other games like them come out on PlayStation, that they're going to want to buy a PlayStation to play it. And I think that's a fundamental misunderstanding of how PC gamers are. For the most part, most PC gamers aren't going to go buy a closed platform to play the Ghost of Yotei because they enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima. They just gonna wait. And so when you see how that turns out and you think about what you gave up to as far as the exclusive, that your games are always only on here, maybe they felt that just wasn't enough. The sales that they got that wasn't like, breaking the bank. Oh my God, like we're killing it over here, except for Helldivers 2, which is multiplayer, which will continue. They come out their next, if they do have another multiplayer hit, who knows, right? It's going to be day one on PC, same way Helldivers was. But like the single player stuff, they want to protect their platform. If you want Wolverine, they want you to understand that you're not getting Wolverine on PC. So don't wait for the port to PC, because you're gonna be waiting for a really long time. Just buy it on PlayStation is what they want you to do. Yeah, dang, I just went on a rant. My bad. Go ahead and finish up, bro.
No problem.
I thought you said, I thought he was like, just took over the conversation.
Yeah, I did. My bad.
No, it's all good. No, as a consumer and as a PC gamer, I'm sad to see the ports go. But as a PlayStation gamer, and as well as just thinking about the business side of it, I mean, Logic already explained it eloquently enough. It just, there's, and then you also touched on the slow-mo. There's a number of factors here, on the business side of it. And just to point to one in particular, brand damage is one, as well as how are they going to feel some kind of way when Helix comes out and everybody's like, oh man, I'm playing that new Faye God of War game on my Xbox Helix. You know what I mean? That's a competitor platform, and regardless of whether it's just a PC or it's a hybrid or whatever, the fact is it's some sort of an Xbox branded machine. And are they okay with their games appearing on an Xbox platform? Steam is making a move for the couch and living room. The Steam machine, by all intents and purposes, does not look like it is anything that would be a match for the PS5 Pro possibly not even PS5, but they're still making a play for the living room. The cost versus the return on the PC ports. I mean, maybe they're making profits, but like Logic said, is it even worth it at that point? You know, um, all of those things, I'm sure, went into the decision. I think all of us knew that it was a little bit optimistic to think that they could release one game on PC and then hope that, lots of PC gamers would say, you know what, I don't want to wait for the next game. I'm going to buy a PlayStation 5. Some did. Most probably did not. So
Right.
I think that from a business standpoint, it makes sense. From a branding standpoint, it makes sense. And I think also, and I've long suspected this. I don't have the data to back it up, but I think it's just in kind of an easy deduction to have where when they were requiring the online the PS account that everybody was upset about, and then now making it an incentive to have a PS account, linked to your Steam account, is because I think I think they wanted those metrics, right? They want to know, okay, like I'll use myself as an example. They're like, all right, Ramon bought all of these exclusives on PS5. Oh, okay, he bought them on PC. Okay, so he's double dipping. And then, I think that they're looking, they for people who had that account, they want to see who's double dipping. They want to see PC only players who don't have PlayStation and say, oh, okay, this person doesn't have a PlayStation profile, but they have this PSN on PC. What are they doing? And that's all data to see the habits of people who are engaging with their games. So, if they're seeing that the return isn't what they had hoped, then why continue on with it? And they're in a fortunate position to where they could dip their toe in, experiment with it. Nah, this isn't going how we want. We better take a step back. And that, I think it was a smart move to do, regardless of how I feel about it personally, because like I say, I like those ports, but also as a PlayStation gamer, you feel like you're in the back seat because, when we were playing Helldivers, you know what I mean? Like we were playing Helldivers with E. E is on PlayStation. He's paying for PS5, PS Plus, and we're playing with him for free. That's not cool. You know what I mean? Like if I was a PS5 only gamer, I would be feeling some kind of way about that. But so I mean,
Yeah, I'd be
but
feeling like y'all need to stop trying to charge me for multiplayer. That's what
I'm saying.
but like no one wants to really have that conversation. But that's fine.
That's my. I think it was the right decision to do.
Who at Forte? You haven't
Yeah.
gone? Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. What are your thoughts, bro?
I think this for a whole completely different reason. I think the biggest conversation should be around the why of it, because I think for the most part, it is definitely a business decision. Absolutely. I'm definitely going to be sad to see those games go. I was looking forward to a future where I didn't have to own any console, and the only reason I was holding on to a PS5 is for Grand Theft Auto 6 when it came out. But that doesn't seem to be the issue. Seem to be the situation we're going to find ourselves in. What I will say is, I do think there's more to it than just the it's more to it than just the missing revenue. I think with the price of their consoles going up, the price of everything pretty much going up to this extent, they're looking at it as like, when they first did it, they were like, okay, I can see a person buying a game on PC and then using the scenario to say, oh, you know what? I'll wait. I'll buy a PS5 because I don't want to wait for the next one. But when the price of a PlayStation 5 Pro goes up to $900 and the price of a PS5 goes up to $650, and then even the digital system goes up to $500, you start thinking about, hey, I already got a capable PC. Do I really need to get a console? Especially if their games are already coming to PC, even if they're on a slight delay. Am I willing to wait? then a lot of people are saying I am willing to wait because I don't want to spend $600 to $600 to $900 on a new console if I don't have to. But you take that completely away when you start telling people like, hey, you know that thing we were doing? You know, bringing our games over to PC a little bit faster. First, it was 2 years, then it was a year. Then we had some come out as fast as 6 months later. Yeah, we're going to reverse all that. So when games like Sorrows comes out, we know you love the way Returnal played on PC. I think it was probably one of the best games that they ported over to PC. The way that game plays feels freaking incredible. And you know what? We know you know that. But guess what? It ain't coming there. If you want to play Sorrows, you gotta come to PC, baby. You gotta come to console. You gotta come to PlayStation. And I'm like, dang, they got me. I want to play it. But guess what? You know, same thing with Wolverine. Oh, you love the Marvel universe, right? Yeah. You know, yeah, Spider-Man. Yeah, the first one took a couple of years. You know, Miles Morales. We did that in 6 months, you know, 6 months to a year. It was over there, you know. Yeah, you know what? We're not even going to play with you. We're just going to tell you right out the gate that, you know, Wolverine, it's not coming. It ain't coming. If you want to play that, you got to don the beautiful PS logo on the side of a console, using our controller at your TV. You know, that's just how it has to be. And as much as you're not going to like it, if you want to play that game, that's where it's going to be at. And that's the power of exclusives. But I do think a lot of it has a lot to do with the fact of the price of stuff. Like, they're not stupid. They lowered the forecast of their console, not because it just wasn't selling as much, but they also knew the impending part of it is less people can afford the console when it comes out. Like, I see people you do not know how many people walk into the store and ask how much a PlayStation. They say, oh, how much is the PlayStation? And some people, when you're spending that much money, you don't want to buy a used one. Like, usually a used one, if you're talking about $450, you know, versus something that's
people
a little
dirty.
bit more.
They be having roaches in their console. Ain't nobody trying to bring no roach-filled PlayStation inside their house, especially at these prices.
Here at my GameStop, we don't take roaches and stuff. But even at my store, when I know nothing like that happens, they look at it like I had one person, like I swear on like 4 different occasions.
Station 5.
Four different occasions today, people was like, hey, how much is a PlayStation? They see the price. I said, oh, they're in the case. They said, oh, you don't have any new ones? I said, oh yeah, they're $650 for the one with the disc drive, $500 without. And if you want a Pro, it's $900. And they look at it and they contemplate and they say, dang, $529 looks real good, but I don't want to buy a used one. So, and then guess what they end up doing? Not buying it at all, because it's like at a certain point it's like it's too much is too much for some people, and then for your disposable income, I guess you could say, some people's disposable income ain't as high as other people's, and that's where we are with consoles. So PlayStation's trying to find a way to bring a lot of those people back into the fold, because they do know at the end of this year, if it ever happens, well, the end of the year will happen. We just don't know if if Grand Theft Auto will be there at the end of the year. But if it does happen, they know there's going to be a huge influx of people that's going to be coming from last generation to this generation finally for that game. And yes, there will be a moment where people are going to say, I'm just going to get a PlayStation because I don't want to wait for it. But there are going to be people that are already predominantly on PC that will weigh the options and be like, do I need to spend $600 on a console? Yeah, I can still play Wolverine. I'll just wait for that to come out. I can still play Sorrows. I just have to probably wait 6 months for that to come out. Grand Theft Auto, we've seen PC gamers wait for a year for it to happen. But if you're a person that really loves PlayStation games and you know they're not coming to PC at all, that changes your mindset. It makes you go out and spend $500, $600, $700 on a console just so you can experience not only that game early, but all of the other games they have coming. And they're not stupid. They know that. And that was part of the thing that PlayStation has always kind of prided themselves on. So I always thought it was weird when they decided to like kind of follow in a Microsoft formula by bringing their games over. But I also think it was more of a symptom of business that they were doing when it came to like, we want to do not just one live service game, we want 2, we want 3. Can anybody count the 12? We want 12 live service games, and we ain't even finished making the first one, but we want 12 within the first 2 years of us making this new initiative. And guess what? I think maybe 3 of them made it out the door, and one was a flame out above among epic proportion. So yeah, that's where we are with that. So I think that has a lot to do with it, but this is nothing but a business move that makes sense. I like what Logic talked about with Nix's, that I think they're going to be perfectly fine, because that's just going to become even more of a support studio. And I don't think this is going to be the end of games coming to PC. I just think right now the message is, let's batten down the hatches.
The multiplayer games are still coming.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The multiplayer
changed.
stuff is still coming, but I also think this isn't going to be the end. I still don't think this is the end for all their games coming. I do think at some point in the future that a lot of these games that are on PlayStation will come to PC, because there is a market there. But the timeline that they were kind of speeding up on, trying to get it from 2 years to a year and a half, I think that's completely gone. I think if you do see Sorrows on a PC, it won't be for 2 to 3 years from now. And at that point, it's going to be just
like some of the timelines they already had with 2 years.
Well, no, they would, but that's the thing. They've been trying to build that timeline to get stuff faster. They've been trying, like they told people, like, hey, you're looking at a year to 2 years, but then some games were taking 3 years. Like for the most part, the only ones that were taking shorter were the smaller games, like when they moved, like Miles Morales and stuff came over. And the reason they were able to do that because they were building it inside the Spider-Man, the 2018 model with just upgraded graphics and everything and more. And I think they revamped the engine a little bit to do it, but the bones of the game was still there. So they didn't have to really change much to be able to port that over. It wasn't like Sorrows is a completely different game to Returnal, and all the systems are completely different, even knowing they kind of function the same exact way. So it will take a little bit more time for them to do stuff like that than, a regular game that, like when they do Intergalactic, when that game finally does come out, that's going to be something that's going to take time to move over. And they're just kind of building that in now, saying, yeah, we're not even going to talk about that stuff coming. Don't even think about it coming, because it ain't coming, at least in the time that it's going to be, something that's going to really, really matter to you. You might as well just get a PlayStation and do it. But I think the price of things is part of the reason why they're doing it, because they see people not buying consoles and they don't want to give people another reason not to buy their console and play somewhere else, when they can literally batten down the hatch and say, no, bro, just come here and play it. It ain't going nowhere else. If you're interested in these games, this is where they're going to be at.
All right, I'm gonna need to speed this up. So we got one more rapid fire.
Wait, we're still on rapid fire?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mr. Long-Winded. Yeah.
Wait, you're the one that went on a rant.
Okay. I went on one rant.
I'm not gonna say
Anyway. Yes, continue. So look, this next topic, I want one sentence from everyone on how you feel. One sentence, and then just it sums up how you feel about it. And then we'll get into the main topics. Okay, that sound good to everyone?
Main topics.
Let's go.
Topics.
Okay. So the last rapid fire, PlayStation Plus has increased in price. New monthly prices rise to $10.99 for Essential. It's up $1. $16.99 for Extra, up $2. And $19.99 for Premium, up $2, with corresponding 3-month increases as well. Existing subscribers keep current rates until they renew or modify their plans. Ramon, what is your one sentence about this?
I am no longer subscribed. I wish them the best of luck.
Good. It's good. Logic. One sentence, sir. How do you feel?
I am also no longer subscribed, but I think people will be just fine and no one really cares.
Interesting. Forte, one sentence. How you feel?
My membership expires in October, and unlike my Netflix that went up $2 from $24 to $26 or $26.99, I too agree that most people won't care.
That was like 3 sentences, but it's fine. We'll work with it.
Well, paragraph.
My one sentence is: they said this was due to market conditions. I say you're full of ish. And yeah, so yeah, there you go. Done with rapid fires. Let's get into these main topics. And you know, I've been saying it for years. I know some of y'all gonna be like, here you go. But it's really coming now.
Oh,
It's happening. Destiny is dead. Destiny is over. On June 9th, Bungie will be releasing the final update for Destiny 2. I think it's called like something like Moments of Triumph. They took a what was going to be just like a normal update. They kind of like sprucing it up a little bit extra for you Destiny fans that hung in there for so long. The game will remain online though; it's not going offline, but it will not be getting any new content after this update. Any content that was like in the planning stages has all been canceled. According to Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, Bungie is planning a significant layoff following the end of Destiny 2's development. Destiny 3 is not in active production. Some Bungie staff are pitching and prototyping new ideas, including Destiny games, but those have not been greenlit yet. And anyone who doesn't get laid off after the big layoff will be helping mostly with Marathon, which is on. The numbers ain't looking good. It's not looking great, Marathon, as far as players consistently. So yeah, I think it'd be appropriate for Forte to go first, considering your extensive time with Destiny. How do you feel, sir?
Well, actually pretty emotional about it. It was one of those situations where I joke around all the time and say, when people say when people name my top 5, they say name your top 5 favorite games, and I always would say, Halo, Mass Effect 2 was always my favorite, Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time, and BioShock Infinite was always the 5th one. And I could never, and I said, as much as I want to put Destiny in there, I have a love-hate relationship with that game, so I could never do it. And today was the moment, like, it hit me. And I was like, just a whole bunch of emotions and feelings came to the top. And I was like, I actually called Taz on the phone. First, I called Taz, and I literally just
Cry together.
Bro, well, not even no. Come on now.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to be funny. I get it.
No,
it's a little emotional for you guys.
But I had to call my fire team member and tell him and say, he said, "What's up?" And I said, "None, man." I said, I can't believe what I just read. And and we just talked about it, and I said I haven't played the game in over a year. Like when I finished the final shape, when I beat the final raid, I beat the darkness, and I did all that stuff. That I said it was the end of my 10-year bid. I did my 10 years and I enjoyed it, but I had already started falling out of favor with the game just due to the direction and the stuff that was going on with it. And I will never forsake the game, pun on words with the name of one of the best expansions made. But it was like, this is very emotionally charged. Like, I was watching I haven't really watched content creators in Destiny in a while, but I just found myself just going to like all my favorite ones and just watching them and talk about it and just see like raw freaking emotion about a game, because we grew up. Like I like Ramon talked about it. Like I was 34 when Destiny launched. When Destiny first launched in 2014, I was 34, going on 34. I'm 40. My birthday was 2 days ago. I'm 47, bro. Like 12 years of time went by, and the majority of that time in that game, and I just start thinking about, I wouldn't know Luca. I wouldn't know you. All of this, I wouldn't know the Iron Lords. I wouldn't know Taz, one of my best friends. I wouldn't know none of those people. And as much as I bestoke that game sometimes, it means a lot. And to like finally see the curtain come down on it. And when they talked about it yesterday, and they tried to make it sound so good in their last TWAB that they did, where they said they were when they were basically ending development on it, and they were just putting the last update. They said the whole line of, it's time for Destiny to live past Destiny 2. And I was like, cool. Go Zero Dark 30 on this thing and let's get a Destiny 3, because that's the way you're making it sound. And then Jason Schreier's article today literally was like the harpoon, not even an arrow, a harpoon through the heart, telling you that, nah, bro, it ain't happening. And honestly, when I sit there and I think about it, shut up, Slow-Mo. When I sit there and I think about it, Sony's doing, I think it's stupid, because I think they have something there with that franchise. But I also understand the situation they're in. Marathon, as much as I can't stand it, and after all of the layoffs that are going to happen at this company, and the people that remain are going to be shifted over to development for what's the name, and supposedly the reason that they're stopping development on Destiny 2, because they had a lot of stuff, like all that stuff. Anybody that watched and listened to the video and the TWAB, there's a lot of stuff that they're adding to this June 9th update, stuff that wasn't supposed to come out until future updates. Like we're talking about years, like a year or so down the line. There's a lot of stuff that they're adding, but the reason they're doing it is because all of those people that are going to be left are just being moved over to Marathon. And I think that is stupid, but I understand why it's happening, because unfortunately, Sony does not want to have a situation, as much as Marathon is in trouble numbers wise in just every facet when it comes to like just population and the overall critical awareness of what people think of the game. They don't want a situation where they want to tell Bungie, we want you to start working on the next thing, the next Destiny. We want you to work on Destiny 3, because that's not a small feat. It takes an entire studio to build that game. So what's going to happen with Marathon? And they can't have a game that literally just released, that they put all this money into, and literally just stop development on it. It wouldn't be a Concord 3, but it's the next closest thing. And they don't want that on their resume anymore. They seen what that looks like. So they're going to tell Bungie, if you want to make something else, we need to right the ship a marathon first. The unfortunate thing is, I don't see it ever happening.
There's no writing that ship.
There's no writing that ship. That ship
The
is
gaming
gone.
community has made their decision on Marathon, and they have largely said, "Nah, I'm good."
No, it's not for me. So, and I'm a person that it would fit for because I am a huge Bungie fan. They were banking on the Bungie pedigree, keeping people there. And to this day, I have still never launched or even looked at a marathon screen.
I have an idea. I have a theory.
Yeah.
What if they are the reason why they're shifting those devs to Marathon, and they're still supporting Marathon in light of the no longer developing on Destiny 2, is that they're hoping after Destiny 2 players play the last ever update for it, that these players will finally stop playing Destiny and will start playing Marathon. What do you think about that?
No, because all you're going to do is because let's be for real. The reason I stopped playing Destiny is because of the people that left to go to Marathon. They literally left the PvP in shambles on Destiny. Literally 4.5 years of no new maps, no new innovations, no sandbox updates. How the heck do you do that to a thriving community, your most important community, the one that's paying all your bills? And this is before Bungie got bought by PlayStation, and you alienated all those people. So you think that everybody we always said that people kept saying Marathon's going to kill Destiny. It officially just did. And guess what? Now those people really are going to be pissed. So you think people that love Destiny are going to care for Marathon because Marathon's the reason this is happening.
Okay.
So I don't see that. I don't see that happening at all, bro.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. What I was saying is that they thought maybe it would happen.
And they stupid because they should have let they're legit stupid. And I hate calling people that, but that's stupid because guess what? All you see is I don't agree with a lot of the content creators and the things they say about Destiny and how they keep saying the things that people been crying for Destiny 3. That's fine. I agree with, I understand people want Destiny 3. I just want consistency. They could have lived in Destiny 2 forever. I just wanted more from the game. I wanted more updates. I wanted a consistent sandbox change. I wanted all the things that was promised that they were going to do to make Destiny a living, breathing thing, just like freaking Blizzard does for WoW. WoW is not this thing that gets consistently updated all the time, but they keep it upright and they bring out consistent updates over time to make it better. They do quality of life changes and they don't forget about their fans. And guess what? That's what Bungie did. They forgot who brought them there in the name of trying to make something new. And that is the problem. And then I don't think Sony thought that was going to happen. I think Bungie thought that their fans was going to follow them anywhere. Just because they followed you from Halo to Destiny doesn't mean they're going to follow you to an extraction shooter, which is the niche of the niches when it comes to like shooters. Everybody, especially when your game is built mostly in PvE. Yes, Destiny has a PvP component that people love. That's where you go with your weapons to see what you got to be better and test yourself against other people playing the game. But for the majority of the time, PvE was the biggest part of the game. And guess what you did? Came out with a game with no PvE. And come to find out now they're bringing this PvE part to Marathon. You know, I'm gonna tell them the same thing I told I said to 343 at the time, 343, formerly known as 343, now Halo Studios. How are you gonna have a game and how are you gonna be known for certain things and not even live up to those new things in the new game that you're making? How are you gonna come out with a game that's built around co-op and split screen with terminals around the map that is literally built there for 4 people to play and you can't even do it when the game releases. So I'm gonna say the same thing to Bungie. How are you gonna take where a good 70% of your player base is literally active in your game in a PvE sandbox and come out with a purely based PvP game and think that your fans are gonna follow you? That's Bungie's fault, and that's why Bungie is in the situation they're in. They felt like I'm not going to say they took advantage of their fans, because we went along for the ride ourselves. We're free thinking people. We defended the game. We were there to play the game. When the game was bad, we were still there playing it. When it was great, we were still there playing it. We celebrated it. When the division fell on its face, we were laughing at the division. SloMo will tell you, I laughed at the division, and I liked the division, but I still laughed at it because it failed to do what Bungie was able to do with Destiny and keep its player base engaged. But guess what? Even that failed in the end. So,
and who's getting a Division 3, and who's getting a Part 3, and who's not?
Guess what? And you, if you would have asked me that a week ago, I would have never said on my bingo card that Division 3 was going to come before Destiny 3. But here we are, because of the mistakes of a company that feels like that their player base is all that matters, which it does, because they're the ones that pay your bills at the end of the day. But you also forgot that they are not going to just follow you to the ends of the earth if they don't like what you're doing. And that's what happened here. So I'm sad. I'm sad and disappointed, and my emotional side is over because I'm more disappointed in what Bungie did to themselves versus what PlayStation is making them do now, because PlayStation is the arbiter of that franchise. Well, not even, of the franchise and of the studio, and they're going to do what they need to do with it, and they're going to bleed that company completely dry of all of the talent that's there. And at the end of the day, Bungie will not be a thing anymore. Bungie will just disappear at some point.
You think how long you think this is going to take?
Because Bungie ain't, listen, the name of that studio is too big to just be a support studio. You can't, it's like, I would rather have a brand new studio with brand new leadership that we rename and bring up from the ground up with a new culture and the way that we want to do things, than have it be called Bungie. Because when you think of Bungie, you're always thinking about what they did. You're always thinking of Halo. You're always going to think of Destiny. And those were the things they were great at. And they were the ones that was in charge of your live service initiative that fell flat on its face. So at the end of the day, I'd rather just get the people out of the studio that I need to get out of there, foster a brand new community around whatever studio culture I want to build, and see this to the end. And then at the end of the day, Bungie becomes something that just gets whisked away, in the ether of time at that point. And just like they like to say at the end of their twabs, we'll see you Starside. Yep, that's what's going to happen at some point, because I just don't see PlayStation giving them the time to fix whatever ails them at this moment. Because Marathon, it needs more than just TCL. It's going to take time to fix that. And I just think if it was up to Sony, they would pull the plug on that game. But I think the fact that Concord happened, they just can't do it. They'd rather spend more money into a game that's going to die on its own than pull the plug themselves. And that's the true unfortunate thing I think is happening right now with Bungie.
Ramon, you used to play Destiny, right?
I played the first one for a while.
Okay.
I got an early whiff of what they were about when that first DLC from the season pass dropped, and the content was sparse and it was little more, and some of the areas were just the same areas, but you just went through them backwards. And when they did that, like, and then I played Crota, which was decent. But then after that, I was just like, the leapfrog, good, bad DLC turned me off, and so I dipped. A lot of my friends went back to it, but I was like, between that and also realizing that it felt more like a part-time job, or I got to go on and do my dailies real quick. And I was just like, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was some of the most fun I ever had playing with my friends, but at the end of the day, I dropped off mostly because of that. I totally can empathize with what people like Forte and some other folks I've been seeing who've been a little bit emotional about it. I get it. It's 10 years, that's 10 years of your life. That's 10 years of experiences and, 10 years of special moments that have happened. And, it's, I mean, to be dramatic, you could say it's the end of an era. You know what I mean? Not too many IPs accomplish this. So it's kind of sad to see. Unfortunately, it's also a tale as old as corporate greed or corporate mismanagement time.
Yeah.
Their managers too
Shout out to
busy
Pete
buying
Parsons
cars.
and his 15 cars.
Yeah, he's too busy collecting cars and not running the studios properly and everything. And as usual, he's gonna be okay, but everybody else has to deal with the aftermath. So,
Mm.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't say one way or the other how long Bungie survives after this. Maybe they'll push through and make it. Maybe they'll figure out a way to survive. But if Sony takes them over, you know, I mean, I could roll the dice and try to guess how this is going to turn out, but it's looking
I
kind of
think
bleak
I
right
think
now.
Sony has already taken them over. I think they did that when Bungie was not hitting their revenue targets years ago. I
Okay,
think
see, I thought they did some layoffs in order to forestall them
no. Well, I
recently.
mean they did.
That's what the first
Prior
round of
to
layoffs were.
all the layoffs before were trying to forestall the takeover. But
Oh, they
I
didn't
feel
do another
like
round. I thought they did.
yeah, oh no, this is Sony's been in charge for a while now.
No.
I Logic. What are your thoughts about all this? About Destiny 2, no more new content and Bungie's future.
Real quick, guys, I'm sorry. My internet's starting to get spotty, so I better jump off before I actually just end up getting booted.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
yeah. Appreciate you coming through, bro.
Guys, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for
As
having me,
always.
Logic. Always a pleasure. And you guys have a good night. And
All right.
I'll catch up with
Or
you hopefully.
before you leave, let the never mind.
He,
his
he,
internet
he
said, "Yeah,
did.
it's time to go, bro." Well, yeah, that's Ramon Terrell. If you want to find him on social media, he is he's an awesome author. So check out his books. You can find them on any of the like the audio books or ebooks sites, as well as like actual physical media. And on social media, he is on Blue Sky. So, check him out
Blue
there.
Sky.
Logic, sir, what are your thoughts about this stuff, man?
I probably have less thoughts than one question, maybe two. So I heard Forte, like a lot of your theories and maybe some of yours too, but like just a basic teacher for me. Like, aren't we doing this because Destiny 2 is losing money?
Well, it's
I mean,
always been losing money.
Okay.
Destiny 2 has always been a money, like it earned a lot of revenue, but it never earned enough revenue to deal with all the expenses. It was always in the red, which is the reason why Activision had no problem saying, "Oh, you want your IP? You want all that? Cool, take it."
Yeah, you can have it.
Which is the reason why when they went independent, they was like, "We can't do this. We need to be bought by somebody." Which is also why Microsoft looked at it and was like, "Yeah, we're good,
That burn
bro.
rate a little too high.
Yeah, we not gonna do this." and why now, like, you know, we see Sony took that plunge, and clearly, you know, they not going to admit it, but they probably wish they didn't make this acquisition, especially now at that price, which is like 3.5, 3.6 billion, whatever it was. And they've been lowering the evaluation ever since. But Destiny has never made money where it's made money because it's had a consistent community, but it hasn't made enough money in the format of the way the game is designed in order for them to be profitable. It's too expensive. There are too many devs. And the content, it costs too much to make this content. In addition to the fact that, like, throughout the majority of Destiny 1 and 2, it wasn't just Bungie making this. Well, most studios have, like, you know, support studios. But they've had support studios doing main content. They've had needed support studios in order for them to be able to come out with their annual big updates.
Hybrid Studios and Vicarious Visions.
Yeah, they needed those studios to help them get there. And that's on a consistent basis. So take your 800 plus developers at Bungie and then add whatever High Moon, the Vicarious, and whoever the heck else was a support studio have. And that is all that you're supporting on microtransactions and the you know, the update costs or whatever, how much these annual updates were. It just wasn't enough. So yeah, long story short, it never was a profitable IP.
Yeah, so that just gives me the feeling that I don't necessarily know that Marathon killed Destiny 2 as much as Destiny 2 just got so large and unwieldy of a beast that it just became not sustainable. Particularly in the structure, like once they were scooped up underneath PlayStation Studios, it just wasn't a business model that, you know, would normally be allowed to kind of exist and continue under the SIE umbrella. The other question I wanted to ask, or maybe Forte, I heard you making the comparison to Warcraft. I guess my feeling is like the huge difference I see between Warcraft and Destiny is that nobody's coming for Warcraft. Like Destiny 2's competition, because it's a shooter, granted it's a shooter with a slightly different model than maybe a lot of the other, but like,
yeah,
there's tons of games in the shooter space that everybody looks at as competition, whether it's PvP, PvE, like people will consider Helldivers 2 like competition to Destiny 2 because it's a matter of if you want to be in the shooter space and it's attention. Not necessarily like modes and things like that. So I just feel like Destiny 2 has a lot more competition than Warcraft does, whereas Warcraft has been around so long that it doesn't need to do that much to retain its current player base. And then 2, there's not a lot of I feel like I could be wrong. There's not a lot of content coming out gunning for Warcraft. Like the people who are in that space, like ESO, Warcraft, and I don't even know who else, is pretty much static, and there aren't a ton of like new entrants into that space. So I don't know.
So I'll answer that part, and the reason I will say, and it comes back to what SloMo was saying, like, okay, so let's talk about the marathon thing. The reason I say marathon, because like for me, the reason marathon was kind of the beginning of the end is because you took, as much as I say 70% of the people play PvE inside of Destiny, and the other 20 to 30% split up between other game modes, but a good 20% of the community play PvP. The reason for me is it's like whenever Bungie would do like Iron Banner or one of those really casual, because that's what Iron Banner was. It was more of the competitive. Trials would be the super competitive into PvP. Iron Banner was like the more celebrated, you know, get armor, go in with your friends, 6v6, 1v1, and play with, just play the game and get cool rewards, weapons and guns. And that was like the more casual side of it. But the moment that they shifted so much of their development outside of Destiny and took it over to Marathon, because granted, Marathon is going to be a priority because it is a purely focused PvP game. So instead of building like a small team outside of Bungie or outside of Destiny and probably taking one or two people, you literally took your best minds inside of Destiny and took them completely off the project. Like SloMo said, Destiny is a game that consistently leaves content, and that's why it costs so much to maintain it. Like, you can't let a game like that go in one facet that 20% of your player base plays. You can't let it get stale for a year. They let it happen for 2.5, 3 years before they even acknowledge the situation. And when I knew it was a problem is when they did a TWAB and they said they wanted to put together a PvP strike force. They literally used a PvP strike force to bring back some of the missing things that's happened over the course of that year. And guess what? It was a year and a half later before we even saw the first update. I remember people celebrated. We got 2 brand new maps, and they brought back 2 reprise maps, and they brought back 2 or 3 weapons. That's what we got for not getting anything of substance for 4
Another
years.
game could have did that in two or 3 weeks.
Exactly.
I mean, it is really on them. I think that they just failed to give the community what they wanted, and people they checked out. And
You just get
and, you
old.
know,
You just got old.
I checked out far sooner than like Forte did, but like maybe it like a year into Destiny 2, I just said I can't do this no more. I'm done. And I kind of occasionally I would go back for stuff that Forte and Luca and Taz were trying to do and things like that. But I could never like take it as seriously as I used to. Like with Destiny 1, like I had so many hours in it, and I was doing all the strikes. And as Ramon had mentioned before he left, I was doing the dailies all the time, and it was like a second job. Like you had to keep up with it. And another problem they have, I think they've always had this issue, is onboarding and how quickly things change, so that like if you do leave, you almost need to be onboarded onto what's changed and what's new now, because you feel like you're lost, like you need someone to shepherd you through the game that you've been playing, but you took a couple of months off to play some other games for once, and then you come back and you're like, wait a minute, what the heck is going on now? And it's just they seem to not have a cohesive vision on how to deal with those kind of things. I think I guess I'll just say this real quick. I think Bungie's cooked, and I think they're cooked for multiple reasons. But the main one is that, like as I mentioned earlier, the game Destiny has never been sustainable, and so the problem that you now have is that if you want to make a Destiny 3, you need to make it be different than what Destiny 1 and 2 is, because Sony's not going to approve of that kind of game design, because they already know that's not sustainable. So they're not going to approve of you making a Destiny 3 that's not going to make them money. It's going to make money, but they're going to spend too much money doing it. The way you did it before, they're not doing that no more. So you need to have a Destiny 3 that's sustainable. And the problem that's going to come with that is that the Destiny community that's going to be already in hype for a Destiny 3 may not be hyped for how Destiny 3 is. Because it's not going to be like Destiny 2. So now it's almost like you're rebooting the IP, even though the IP isn't a brand new IP and it has some cachet, it has some value, but you can't make games on it like you used to, which is a problem. So like, look, I've seen so many PlayStation fans over the years say this: "Need to bring back SOCOM," and I've always been like, "For what?" If they bring back SOCOM, it's not going to be the game you played back in the day. They can't bring that game back and think that's going to sell to the current day gamer. You're going to buy it because you got that nostalgia and you enjoyed it. Whatever it is, it's going to be a different experience. It's like how we talk about how we wish Ghost Recon was what like it was and Rainbow Six was like it was. But what do we have from Rainbow Six now?
All right.
Siege.
Siege.
It's not what Rainbow Six was. When they bring back old IP, and I'm not saying, and this is not quite what Destiny, because Destiny isn't an old IP, but they have to change the format so it applies here because they're no longer going to make the game the way they are, which is why we just as Shreya reported they're pitching ideas. None of them have been greenlit yet. And Destiny 3 is not in active development because whatever Destiny 3 needs to be, it's not going to be what you like. If they were just going to do what they did with Destiny 2 and 1, they just start. Just get started. Same thing. But they can't do that. So they have to come up with a way that where they can sell Sony on this method of doing Destiny 3 would be profitable. And frankly, they've lost a lot of reputation within Sony. They hired them to come in to not just make successful games, but to help guide their other studios, whether they be first or second party, to make successful live service multiplayer games. Did that happen? No. So now your word don't carry as much weight as it once did. When you say, hey, this is going to be successful, they're like, oh, how so? Before it was like, well, hey, Bungie said it. It says it's going to be successful. Hey, they Bungie. They got it. They the kings out here. Now y'all look like the paupers. And they like, I don't think so. Prove to me in this picture meeting why this is going to be successful. And I don't think they can show and prove. They're not that same studio no more. Hey, look, I blame Pete. Look at my 15, antique cars Parsons for a lot of this stuff. Because he's the one that led them directly into the sewer. And then pieced out once he got all his money. I think they are in a bad position, and I think the only way forward for them that I can imagine is they kind of go back to their roots. What's the one thing that Bungie still has, despite all the people coming and going, all the big names that's no longer there anymore? What's the one thing they still got that everyone says they got? Their gunplay.
They still got the best gunplay out there, baby.
I wouldn't call it the best, but they still got good gunplay.
It's still the best gunplay out there. But go ahead.
It's not the best gunplay, but we're gonna move
on. Still the best gunplay out.
It's not the best. It's not the best. So they got good gunplay. Do something that highlights that. Because Marathon doesn't highlight that because there's too many lulls. And it's not like you'll have the PvP that's in there, but it's an extraction shooter. It's not like an arena shooter. It's not like how you got big campaigns and Halo and Destiny. It's not like that. You gotta come up with something that puts your best quality on Front Street. and it's not ugly UI and walking around and collecting items and occasionally fighting people in Marathon. That's not it. So I'm not saying it necessarily has to be an arena shooter. I'm not saying you gotta do a spiritual successor to Halo, but whatever you do, you need to put your best qualities out there for everyone to enjoy, because everyone says your gunplay's good. That's the one thing that you haven't lost. I think that's their only way forward. Otherwise, it's just gonna be like it's coming. Like Destiny 2, no more new content. And look at where they're at right now. No longer working on Destiny 2. You're laying off a bunch of people. You have no new games in the pipeline. And the rest of your studio is going to focus on a failing extraction shooter. Where's the good news? I don't see none. Where's the hope at? You're kind of cooked. How many studios have we heard from Sony where, hey, look, we putting pictures together, and we got some good ideas. You need to get one of these ideas together. Wasn't Blue Point saying that? Where's Blue Point now? Oh yeah, they gone. So look, I'm not saying it's going to happen this year. I'm not going to say it's going to happen next year, but it's going to happen eventually.
I'm done with this. Talk about it no more.
It's okay, man. It's okay. Gonna be all right. Let's get to this last topic before Forte start crying on us. You don't want that.
Shut up.
Hey man, look, I'm trying to be helpful here, man. What are you telling me to shut up for, yeah? Come on, man.
You're trying to be funny right now.
I am not. I look. If I was trying to be funny, I'd be saying, "Hey, Division agents, we won." That would be me being funny. But I'm not. I'm not going to be petty like y'all were. Okay? I'm just going to hey, look, it's unfortunate, and hopefully, we hope for the best.
Just remember, the highs of Destiny will always be better than the highs of the Division. But okay.
These are the things that you need to lean on.
For my,
what you have
I
is
will.
nothing.
I will.
You have nothing.
Slow. You gotta. I gotta ask you to pump the brakes on that. Now we had layoffs at Massive Entertainment too. We need to chill out until the Division 3 come out.
Hey, look. No, look. Massive Entertainment is still in development on Division 3. Until I hear otherwise, Division 3 is coming out. It is in active development right now, active production. The only thing that's active right now is human resources at Bungie.
Oh my God.
Look, we can't be out here capping on hope.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's just let them. Hey, let Snowdrop cook. Let them cook.
We got content coming on Division 2, which is 10 years old. No, it's not Division 1. It's getting up there. We got content on Division 2 coming out this year, beyond June. From the people talking from corpses. I don't want to hear nothing.
From corpses.
Don't speak to me from a corpse.
He out here. Look, I'm one of the biggest Ubisoft stands there are out here.
He out here being crazy.
He out here.
I wasn't trying to go there, but then Forte had to start talking about our highs. Back in the day.
He out here dangling babies out of windows, man. Ubisoft people going on strike. The French are suing them. Look, man, we need to chill out.
Hey, look,
let the games come out.
I don't. Yeah, hey, look, Division 3 still in development, baby. That's all I know. So, all right, look, PlayStation State of Play coming out, right? Sony announced they doing it on June 2nd. 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be over 60 minutes long, including Marvel's Wolverine and updates, announcements, and gameplay reveals from other top studios. And also, and this is the part that kind of made me go, "Oh, this might be like a little showcase, like old school PlayStation showcase." Will be available to be viewed at select Alamo draft houses. Like you got a little dip on your chip. You like, you know what? This ain't your regular state of play, baby. Go to the theater and watch this. Go get some food, real food. Because Alamo Draft House will just be giving, popcorn and some stale potato chips and a nasty, hamburger. No, they give you real food at Alamo Draft House. If you ever been there, you go there. It's good. It's a good experience. But that seems to me like they trying to show some new stuff off. At least that appears to me to be the case. What do you think, Logic?
I mean, the story with PlayStation now is that and they've said it themselves that they need to get more first-party games out, right? To get back to where there's compensation for what is going to be declining hardware sales, just because that's just the nature of the life cycle of where they are right now. And that needs to be a drumbeat walking into the next generation. Like there's got to be that Tilu 2 Ghost of Tsushima moment, right, to close out the generation. So I'm hoping that what we see, and I mean, and when I say that, I don't think they need to like the cadence is off, right, and that is what it is. They don't need to get out like 5 first-party games a year. They need to get out like 1 additional, right, first-party game. Maybe one other big one and another small kind of Astrobot kind of size,
like 2 or 3 a year.
Yeah, and so I'm hoping, and Nishino has admitted that, right, and said that that's part of their strategy. So I'm hoping we start to see inklings of that at this state of play. So I'm hoping that there's more in the can from first party besides Wolverine. I don't know exactly what that is going to be, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the potential.
Cool, yeah. Forte, what are your thoughts about this? And in the chat also, shout out to Chopper Eric. He says Sony now owns Alamo Draft House. I did not know that. So maybe that makes it, of course, that makes it easier for them to showcase that stuff. He says they've owned it since 2024. They've had plenty of state of play since then. They haven't really been, at least I don't think they've been showing them at Alamo Draft House. Plus, this was 60 minutes long. Some of their state of plays are like 20 minutes. 30 minutes at the most. 60 minutes is basically a showcase. So it just seems to me like they got something that they feel is worth, taking away theater space from other movies. Not that people go into the movies like that like they used to anyway, but like taking screens away from other content in order to showcase their stuff. My bad. Forte, go ahead.
No, I think it's a really interesting thing. Like Logic just said, I'm looking forward to more than just what Wolverine. Like, I kind of just want to see surprises. I kind of want to see more on Intergalactic. I want to see something around that. Of course, I mean, I know we're going to see Wolverine because that game is slated to come out at the end of this year. So more stuff on that would be good, but I'm just more interested to see what's a lot of their other studios are doing. Like, what is Guerrilla doing? We know that they're working on the MMO version of the Horizon, but is there any other things that they got cooking up over there? What is the timeline on, like I said, Intergalactic, stuff like that. So it's 60 minutes. That's be one of the longer. That's like teetering well beyond what a state of play is. So usually those are anywhere from 30 to like 40 minutes. So it kind of makes me think that there's probably going to be a lot of third party stuff, second party stuff there. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some other announcements to partnerships that they have for games that's coming up at the end of this year. Because I know there's a lot of rumors and speculations on some big games that's coming out that might have PlayStation, partnerships involved with it. I think that will probably be something that could get absolutely announced there. And that might also be the reason why a lot of this, I love the timer on everybody making videos like, are we going to get the update today? Are we going to get a drop today? Are we going to be able to do pre-orders today? Part of me feels like this is all tongue in cheek based on an announcement from Sony and what they're doing, so they can like kind of announce in conjunction with it.
Oh, so you think GTA 6 will be at the
Oh yeah,
showcase?
I think it is. Because it. Listen, there's too much
State of Play?
smoke. Yeah, there is too much smoke. Like literally, we've been on like on watch for GTA for like the last couple of weeks. Like there's been rumors and speculations that we're going to get the announcement here, an update there, and every time it happens, I'm like, it never comes. And then we get this announcement for this, and I'm like, and then we heard the rumors of PlayStation having the marketing rights to it, and it just makes sense at this point where pre-orders will go live and everything, and it will be shown, and especially since it's probably going to be optimized for a PlayStation 5 Pro. We know the PC isn't going to be a factor for at least for the first full year. So why not have it on a PlayStation showcase, showing it on a PlayStation 5 Pro for the first time? And the moment that happens, the pre-orders go live. So I think the reason it's going to be 60 minutes because Grand Theft Auto is going to take about 10 of it, maybe 15. So now Grand Theft Auto and Rockstar don't need anybody to promote anything. But I think it kind of matches up with the fact that, a lot of people have been talking about, I think even Nate came out and talked about them having the so-called partnership and with the marketing rights for that. And, with it being the most powerful console out there and no PC in sight for a year, makes sense to me.
My thoughts are, I think we're going to see three things. I think we're going to see that Kana sequel. I forgot the full name of it, but I think we'll see Kana again. That's supposed to come out this year, so we should be able to see like more of that, more of like the additions to the gameplay. I think it's going to show well. Ember Lab did a great job with the first game, and I think it's just going to be an improvement from there. I think also there's this rumor out there that I think is, at least I'm hoping it's true. Maybe it's a little bit of hopium here, but there's a rumor that Sucker Punch, or at least Sucker Punch have been helping a support studio or another studio develop a what's the name of that game now? It was just in my head. What's the other IP that they have that's outside of the Ghost games?
Infamous?
Yes, thank you. Infamous. There's a rumor that there'll be a remake of Infamous 1 and 2. And if that is true, I could definitely see that being shown off there. And people like Cole from 1 and 2. And I think that might do really, really well, especially in an environment where people, they like the superheroes, that like the superhero kind of content. So there's that. But I think the third thing I expect to see is a public acknowledgement of their shift on single player games. Like they are going to make a point that when they show Wolverine, they're going to say only on PlayStation. They're going to make a point to say, Kana is a second party. I think barely a second party, because considering I think Ember Lab owns the IP. But that game, the first game, even before like all this stuff, that first game was day and date on PC, and so was the second one. So they won't say it for that. But like maybe the Infamous games, the whatever else that they got cooking, I do think we'll probably see Intergalactic again. They're gonna make sure that you understand that if you want to play these games, you know where to go, you know where they're going to be, you know where you gotta do to play them. And so I think that's going to be a focus where that when after 60 minutes you're going to get the implication that there was anything that you really were hyped for that wasn't multiplayer. This is going to be where it's at. I don't think we're going to see fair games at this thing. And I heard something about the game. Fair Games may have got its name changed. I don't know if that's true or not, or like what that name would be. But I don't think like everything I've heard about Fair Games has been negative. And and I hate to say that, but like there's been literally nothing positive ever said about anything like internal testing, closed environment. Like people just say it's not fun to play. And I just think that like they just can't afford to be releasing any more games that's just like guaranteed fails in live service. So I don't think we'll see fair games there. And I don't think we'll ever really see fair games at all. So that's just me. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see what happens. But it's already 1 a.m. out here on the East Coast. We need to get up out of here. I apologize for having you guys here so late. But I appreciate all the people who are watching here, as well as the panel for hanging in there, and Ramon for hanging in there for as much as he could. Logic, thank you for joining us, sir. Let everyone know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, they can just find me when I come through here on DPS.
See? I like that.
And me.
Forte,
Yo.
when you're not slaving away at a GameStop, where can people find you, man?
Sleep in my bed when I'm not slaving. Playing Battlefield. Talking to SloMo. Playing Call of Duty begrudgingly.
You ain't played Call of Duty with me in forever. I just want you to know that.
You don't play Call of Duty at all.
Nobody should play that game.
Logic. Have you seen the stats? Have you seen how many matches he got? Ain't a lot.
Still a lot. Still got a lot.
He ain't Prestige 7, so
you can have
He
that.
not even Prestige 1.
Sure ain't. Proud of it too.
damn. He out here slumming in the fitties.
Yeah.
In the general ranks.
At one point in time, he said, "You know what? I gotta get my KD higher than Game Logic KD." I was like,
Yep.
"Oh."
And then I came to my senses. Then I came to my senses playing that game.
You've given up that endeavor.
Yes.
What you should have been doing is playing by yourself.
Maybe when Modern Warfare 4 comes out, maybe then I'll jump in head first and see what happens.
Okay.
But no, that's it. Everybody enjoy your weekend, have fun, and have a good holiday on Monday or this weekend.
I don't know if you guys have seen me before the next show. I hate to bring the mood down, but like if I'm gonna have to get up, like I'm gonna be on limited hours of sleep because in the morning I gotta go to a funeral of a friend of me and my wife's who passed away, and it's not going to be a good day, a fun day at all. So, and just trying to get caught up with everything else with life and stuff. I always try to say I want to stream something, and then just like I never get the time. But it's definitely not going to be a good weekend for anything like that this weekend. But don't see you guys before then. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend more than I will. Hope you guys enjoy some games too. But we're out. See you guys next week. Peace.
Peace outside.